Friday night at the Humidor Cigar Lounge before turning the gun on herself. McMullen died, as well as retired State Trooper Gregory Reeves. Retired Trooper Lloyd Graham and off-duty Trooper Caton Bullock were hospitalized and remain so in serious condition. The suspected shooter had no criminal history. A 2-year-old boy is dead following a fire last week on Chicago's South Side. Cook County Medical Examiner's Office says Jacurion Lewis was critically hurt in the Wednesday blaze and then rushed to Comer Children's Hospital. He was pronounced dead over the weekend. 2 are in custody after a police officer was struck in Chicago by a vehicle fleeing from a traffic stop. Authorities were trying to curb that vehicle and pull out a driver last night near 100th and Peoria when the driver managed to regain control of the vehicle and took off. He then struck a parked vehicle and then the officer. Male and female who then ran from that car were arrested after a short foot chase. The officer remains hospitalized with non-life-threatening injuries. There's a ground beef recall to tell you about this morning, underway in at least 9 states. The USDA says about 2,000 pounds of raw ground beef packaged at Amity Packing in Chicago on January 6th may be tainted with plastic. The recalled products were shipped to stores in Illinois, Michigan, Wisconsin, and 6 other states. A retired priest said at Des Plaines Catholic Church is no longer allowed to live at the suburban parish after inappropriate material was found on his computer. In a letter sent to parishioners of St. Zachary Parish, Cardinal Blaise Supich says Father John Platkowski was informed he could no longer perform any ministerial functions and has been directed to move away from that church. The Archdiocese has referred that matter to Des Plaines Police and the Cook County State's Attorney's Office. Well, it's a rebirth of car making in Bloomington Normal as electric car company Rivian is telling Motor Trend it will handle production of a Ford or Lincoln electric SUV in its Bloomington Normal plant. Company says the design and engineering of the Ford or Lincoln product are ready. You may recall that plant was once owned and produced Mitsubishi products. At 5:07, the Bears' Twitter account is back to normal this morning after being hacked over the weekend. Hackers identifying themselves as Our Mine tweeted out yesterday the team had been sold to an official from Saudi Arabia. Within minutes, the group posted they were just kidding and with an email link for security services. Just a little while later, the Lions' Pride of Detroit page asked the hackers to trade the Bears' Khalil Mack to Detroit for a 6th-round draft pick. Armine responded they would do it for $1. Later, Bears officials say the issue was resolved. Bulls host the Spurs later on tonight. 22nd-ranked Illinois, continuing to move up in the polls, welcomes Minnesota this week to the State Farm Center. College hoops yesterday. Northwestern knocked off by Ohio State. Loyola fell to Northern Iowa in overtime. DePaul's Lady Demons rolled to a 92-66 win over Georgetown. They're number 11 again in the land. Great to see some good golf over the weekend as well. Farmers Insurance Open in San Diego at Torrey Pines. Mark Leishman, your winner. The news service of Upwork with the largest network of independent professionals like developers, designers, data scientists, you name it. So when you need in-demand talent, on demand, Upwork is how. A check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Dennis Prager is impressed with the president's record.
The list is extraordinary. Judges, Supreme Court justices, domestically, internationally, the economy, the unemployment rate. It's quite remarkable when you think about it. No one predicted this. I sit in awe of what he has accomplished.
The Dennis Prager Show. Weekdays at 11, right before Sean Hannity at 2 on AM 560. The Answer.
Is a home renovation on your New Year's resolution list? It's hard to know who you can trust when remodeling your home. How can you tell if you're going to get your dream project or become one of those bad remodeling stories? Advanced Design Studio thinks remodeling shouldn't be painful. If you're nervous about home remodeling, Advanced Design is the company to call to overcome your fears. Providing positive remodeling experiences for nearly 30 years, their common sense remodeling, design, and build process makes remodeling predictable, averting delays and preventing any budget overruns to produce a rewarding remodeling experience. So if 2020 includes a new kitchen or bath, a finished basement, or a much-needed addition to your home, make this the year you get the home of your dreams without the headache. Visit the team at AdvancedDesignStudio.com to learn more. That's AdvancedDesignStudio.com or call 847-836-2600. That's 847-836-2600.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack, but not with ZipRecruiter. Its powerful technology actively finds and invites qualified candidates to apply to your job. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
When you're serious about your concealed carry training and education and are ready to learn from an active police officer with a teaching degree, check out Illinois Concealed Carry Training in Midlothian. You'll learn safe, responsible firearm use, home defense planning, conflict avoidance, situational awareness, and how to remain physically, morally, and financially safe in the event you must use your firearm in self-defense or the defense of another. Weekday and weekend classes available. For information, visit Illinois Concealed Carry Training online at icct.us. That's icct.us.
Now some better news brought to you by Canada Dry. Traffic's the worst, so grab a can of Canada Dry Ginger Ale and imagine instead you're gently floating through the cosmos on a soft, comfy recliner. Next time, relax with the real ginger taste of Canada Dry.
5:11, Team Hochberg Traffic Center time and Jim Telemonte.
In Willow Springs this morning, Archer Avenue is closed between 83 and Willow Springs Road. The flooding closure kicked in again yesterday afternoon. On the expressways and tollways, traffic moves pretty well with no crashes or incidents to report. There's some morning construction on I-80 westbound at Richards. The on-ramp has been closed, but it's now set to reopen. Same true of the westbound I-80 on-ramp from southbound Chicago Street, 53 in that area. The Edens is fine, no problems to report on the Kennedy. Express lanes are open inbound. The Eisenhower, the Stevenson, and the Ryan are fine. Same goes for I-57. Patient forward to the tollways. That's Monday morning traffic. I'm Telemonte. On AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer starts next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the 1 Hour Heating and Air Conditioning Weather Center. Here's our meteorologist, Steve Williams.
Today and tonight, cloudy skies. High today at 36, a low tonight at 29. Clouds and flurries for tomorrow, high 35. Wednesday and Thursday, cloudy. The high Wednesday 34, Thursday's high 35. I'm Steve Williams on AM 560, The Answer.
28, freezing drizzle at O'Hare, 30 along the lakefront, 29 at Midway, and 28 in Aurora this morning. Your next news update is at 5:30. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy starts next on AM 560, The Answer.
Balance of Nature, changing the world one life at a time.
It's been extremely helpful, I'll tell you that. And when I hear the different stories on the radio and so forth, which is what started me on it myself, I know it's real because people's stories are very, they're saying the same thing. Oh, I didn't know, I didn't believe, I didn't, and then when I started it, it changed my life. So in a very good way. It doesn't cure, it just builds my immune system and helps me live a little bit healthier life. That's the bottom line.
Don't wait to see what getting over 10 servings of whole fruits and vegetables every day can do for you. Right now, Balance of Nature is offering free shipping and 35% off on any new preferred order of fruits and veggies. Start your journey to better health today by calling 1-800-2468-751 or by going to balanceofnature.com and make sure to receive this special radio offer by using discount code CHICAGO.
Networks of the future are here now. Game-changing serverless networks with technology that's finally ready for prime time. Turnkey IT is ready to set up your business, increase productivity, save you money, and a lot of headaches. Imagine not having to purchase or maintain a local server in your building and continue using all the tools you rely on with Microsoft 365. Everything is in one place on the Office 365 cloud platform with all files and folders stored, backed up, and ready to be shared securely within your organization. Can your business go serverless? Turnkey IT can get you started with a free 5-point assessment to determine if your business qualifies, and it only takes about 2 minutes. Visit turnkey.pro today to speak with one of their team members to find out more and join the growing number of companies using the Microsoft 365 platform now.
Leave the technical stuff to the pros so you can focus on the important things. Visit turnkey.pro today. Turnkey.pro.
This hourly segment is brought to you by In the Know with Wealth Management Group, hosted by Craig Bolanos. Heard Sunday mornings at 10.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and
Good morning, Dan and Amy. So we start this morning with the stunning news yesterday, of course. I'm sure you've heard by now of Kobe Bryant's untimely passing in a helicopter crash in Calabasas, California. He among 9 people that were killed on that crash, everybody on board, including the pilot, including his daughter, including the Orange Coast College baseball coach, Altabelli, his wife, his daughter.
Who is also on the basketball team. They're traveling on their way to Thousand Oaks for a Saturday travel game and never made it there. And there's still 3, we don't know the pilot's name, and then 3 others, but they are notifying next of kin, and then they'll let people know who they are.
Yeah, we do actually have, the pilot's been identified. It's his name apparently is Era Zobayan. He taught aspiring helicopter pilots to fly. Was very much loved in the aviation community. People in that community tweeted out. They wrote, quote, "Rest easy as you take your final flight to heaven," unquote. And we'll get to the flight in a second. But of course, the tributes came pouring in, and the ABC 7 National, ABC National, did a special at 9:00 yesterday night, Chicago time, which had some powerful testimonials, including. You almost have to start with Jerry West. I mean, talk about iconic NBA. He is the NBA icon, literally. Jerry West and his 20-year relationship with Kobe Bryant.
When he was 17 years old, couldn't drive. My son Ryan used to drive him to the practices. He'd never been in the 405 freeway, never had that horrible experience. And then to start thinking about some of the intimate things that I had done with him to help him through the hurdles of a 17-year-old kid trying to become an NBA player and take that enormous amount of talent he had and to put it within a framework that would help the Lakers be successful for so many years. 20 years career, one of the worst days of my life. The only thing I can compare it to is I had a brother killed in Korea. And I'm just devastated by this news.
Comparing it to a brother dying in the Korean War, that's something. Also, of course, from other longtime associates of the Lakers, Hall of Famers, like he will be this year, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
It's very difficult for me to put in words how I feel about the loss of Kobe Bryant. As a young boy, I met him when he was 11 or 12 years old. I was friends with his dad, Joe. We were former adversaries. Joe played for the 76ers, but he was a good friend and someone that I shared a friendship. And it's hard for me to understand now how this is affecting Joe and his wife. So to Kobe's family, I want to send my most sincere and heartfelt regrets and prayers, and my thoughts are with you guys. Kobe was an incredible family man. He loved his wife and daughters. He was an incredible athlete and a leader in a lot of ways. He inspired a whole generation of young athletes. He was one of the first ones to leave high school and come into the NBA and do so well, dominating the game and becoming one of the best scorers that the Los Angeles Lakers has ever seen. I had the privilege of being there when he scored his 81-point game, and it was something that I will always remember as one of the highlights of the things that I have learned and observed in sports. Kobe, my thoughts are with you. Absolutely. Rest in peace, young man. This loss is It's just hard to comprehend. Go with God.
That 81-point game against the Raptors was something. I was there at the United Center for his last game in Chicago in 2016, and that was an experience, too. I mean, he's one of those players, and I would count a handful in my lifetime, that you consider yourself privileged to live in the era to see them perform. Of course, we had one in Chicago named Jordan. I would say Maravich, Bird, and Magic, along with Kobe, those five.
And after retirement, he found a new love, and that was for girls basketball, coaching his 13-year-old daughter's, Gigi's, basketball team. And he was recently on Jimmy Kimmel and talked about that experience, because it is an experience working with young teenage girls.
In their life.
Do you think your daughter might want to play in the WNBA?
She does for sure.
She does?
I don't. I mean, this kid, man.
Wouldn't that be great?
Dude, man, I'm telling you. The best thing that happens is when we go out and fans will come up to me and she'll be standing next to me and they'll be like, hey, you got to have a boy. UNV got to have a boy, man. You have somebody carry on the tradition, the legacy. She's like, oh, I got this. You know, boy, for that, I got this. Like, that's right. Yes, you do. You got this.
How old are the kids now?
15, 12, and our little one, Bianca, will be 2 in
Do you guys have Halloween costumes figured out?
They got mine figured out. I never know what the heck's going on. They just tell me this is what you're wearing.
Oh,
I'm
is
like,
that
all right? Cool, I'm putting this on.
And will you trick or treat or
No, we go trick or treat every Halloween.
So you're in a costume. What were you last year?
I'm in a costume. Last year we were a League of Their Own, so I was the Black Tom Hanks.
Trying in baseball.
It's cute. So he was a family man as well as being just a NBA All-Star, and even won an Oscar for his documentary is titled Dear Basketball, and here's the ending of it.
No matter what I do next, I'll always be that kid with the rolled up socks, garbage can in the corner, 5 seconds on the clock, ball in my hands. Love you always.
That was from a letter that he wrote. It was in the Players Tribune. It was in newspapers in L.A. when he left the game, Dear Basketball. Something else that you won't hear on the sports stations about Kobe Bryant, but you'll hear here, probably only here, and that's Kobe Bryant's faith. How about that? He was raised in a Catholic household in Philadelphia. Spent some of his youth in Italy, actually.
Yeah, his dad played there.
In 2003, of course, he had the incident where he was accused of rape. Those charges were later dropped.
Because she didn't want to testify.
He did admit to having extramarital affairs, so it wasn't a proud moment for him. He eventually settled a civil suit out of court. But the incident had, and so that put him in a tailspin. You know, it was the Camelot aura around him had been dispelled. In 2011, his wife filed for divorce. He turned to his Catholic faith, though, in those dark moments. In an interview he gave with GQ in 2015, he explained, the one thing that really helped me during that process, I'm Catholic, I grew up Catholic, my kids are Catholic. I was talking to a priest. It was actually kind of funny. He looks at me and says, did you do it? And I say, of course not. Then he asked, do you have a good lawyer? And I'm like, yeah, he's phenomenal. So then he just said, let it go, move on. God's not going to give you anything you can't handle, and it's in his hands now. This is something you can't control, so let it go. And that was the turning point for Kobe. So he describes it, and he goes on to talk about the rough years that ensued, reconciling with his wife, which, of course, they remained married to the day of his passing yesterday. They founded this foundation that, among other things, is dedicated to helping young people in need, encouraging the development of physical and social skills through sports, as well as assisting the homeless. He, in 2013, talked about his commitment to being a servant leader. My career is winding down. At the end of my career, I don't want to look back and say, well, I had a successful career because I won so many championships and scored so many points. That's something else that you have to do with that. There's something else you have to do with that. Homelessness is one issue that kind of gets pushed on the back burner because it's so easy to point the blame at those who are homeless and say, well, you made that bad decision. This is where you are. It's your fault. In life, we all make mistakes, and to stand back and allow someone to live that way and kind of wash your hands of it, that's not right, for example. So, just some context, because I know people have brought up this 2003 allegation, and it's serious. but some context for the larger, imperfect person like we all are. There was a lot of good there beyond him being this iconic basketball.
And there is an Illinois connection to this. The helicopter that he was in was once owned by the state of Illinois from 2007 until 2015, and then Governor Bruce Rauner sold it and a few others for $2.5 million. But it was manufactured in 1991, and we had it here for a while.
And it was not unusual for Kobe to travel by helicopter to when he was with the Lakers, and since he is retired, and for things like his daughter's basketball games at this sports complex that he co-founded. So that was not unusual him to travel by helicopter. But when we come back, we will talk a little bit more about that fateful flight.
You've made the switch, and it feels so good. You've switched to Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Stop wasting energy. There's a better way. Your company could be receiving energy efficiency incentives by recycling waste heat from on-site power generation equipment and turning it into useful energy. The federal government is pushing utility companies to be more efficient. In turn, utility companies are offering incentives for your business. Charles Equipment can help get you up and running with cogeneration, also known as CHP, combined heat and power. A clean and efficient way to generate heat and power. CHP systems can supply at least a portion of a building's electrical load and capture waste heat from hot exhaust gases for use in heating, cooling, hot water, and dehumidification. Charles Equipment can install and manage the cogen equipment at your facility and help your energy use become 70 to 90% more efficient. Start making better, more energy efficient decisions and save money in the process. Call Charles Equipment 630-834-6000 or online at charlesequipment.com. Reliable industrial generators. They've got the power.
Hey, if you're a financial planner wanting to help your client secure a reverse mortgage loan, then you need to hear this Team Hochberg success story. Meet Peter, financial planner who called with reverse mortgage loan questions for Ruth, his widowed 8-year-old client living in a $360,000 home, free and clear, 80, not 8. Team Hochberg's reverse mortgage loan expert, Jose Rodriguez, explained how Ruth could secure a $200,000 loan, thus enabling Peter to extend Ruth's assets under his management. Jose then helped Ruth secure a reverse mortgage loan, which eliminated her worry about running out of money before she died. Financial planners and elder attorneys interested in learning how Team Hochberg could help your existing clients extend their retirement assets with a reverse mortgage loan, we help Peter help Ruth, then you should be calling Team Hochberg, 855-56-DAVID, or visit 56david.com. Team Hochberg has helped me, Peter, Ruth, and thousands of AM 560 listeners, but they can't help you if you don't call. 855-56-DAVID or visit 56david.com. Homesite Financial, Equal Housing Lender, NMLS 1124061.
Message and data rates may apply. Individual results vary. Exclusions apply.
Contacts and glasses are such a hassle. I'd love to finally get LASIK, but
I'm going to stop you right there. If you want LASIK, then the LASIK Vision Institute has officially taken away everything standing in your way.
Isn't LASIK expensive?
Not at the LASIK Vision Institute. We're offering dramatically low prices, as low as $220 per eye, and an absolutely free consultation. See for free if LASIK is right for you by texting LIKE to 350-350.
But I'm really busy.
A text only takes seconds. The LASIK procedure typically only takes 15 minutes, and most patients can get back to work the following day. The LASIK Vision Institute uses the latest FDA-approved LASIK technology that helps the majority of patients achieve 20/20 vision for as little as $220 per eye. Dr. Greenberg has performed 75,000 laser eye surgeries and is one of the most experienced LASIK surgeons in Chicago.
What's that text again?
Text LIKE to 350-350. That's LIKE to 350-350 to schedule your free consultation today.
Hey, if you've had trouble getting started this year because you've been fighting a cold or the flu, well, guess what? It's only January, and experts are predicting a terrible flu season this year. And the best way to stay healthy in 2020 is to boost your immune system by eating well. And what does that mean? Well, that means getting enough fruits and veggies, which you have to admit we're not getting on our own. So that's where Balance of Nature comes in. 6 capsules of Balance of Nature. You're getting 10 servings of 31 different fruits and veggies. Now, you hear stories here all the time on this station about how people's lives have changed. The next story could be yours. I started taking it again, and I have not gotten sick. Don't intend to. I'm boosting that immune system, especially with the pending coronavirus creeping up on us here in the States. And right now, Balance of Nature is offering free shipping and 35% off any new preferred order of fruits and veggies. So start your journey to better health today. 800-246-8751. That's 800-246-8751. Use discount code Chicago or go to balanceofnature.com. Discount code Chicago.
AM 560, The Answer.
Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
We'll pick up our discussion of Kobe Bryant's tragic death and focus on the flight. We've got some audio from air traffic control that's instructive, at least to some extent, and we'll play it at 5:38.
And why the city of Chicago won't say what airlines that infected passenger flew on. And more, the death toll is rising. But now let's head into the newsroom. Here is Mike Scott.
Freezing drizzle in spots, 28 degrees at 5:30. The FBI, the NTSB, and local law enforcement are investigating the helicopter crash that killed retired NBA player Kobe Bryant and 8 others, including his 13-year-old daughter. This man's daughters were playing in a basketball tournament at the Bryant Basketball Academy in Thousand Oaks, California, when the news broke.
We was looking forward to it. Everybody was looking forward to meeting him today and stuff. So, man, it's still heartbreaking.
L.A. County Fire Chief Darrell Osby says no one survived that crash.
They did a search of the area for survivors. Unfortunately, all the survivors on board were determined to have been perished.
The helicopter went down Sunday morning about 30 miles northwest of Los Angeles. The Senate impeachment trial of President Trump resumes later today. The president's attorneys will continue opening statements they began on Saturday. The Democrat managers of the House impeachment effort are now renewing their calls for John Bolton to testify after a new report on what he knows about the Ukraine scandal. Michael Schmidt helped break that part of the story for the New York Times.
The tie between the aid and the investigations and the fruits of them, or the announcements of them, all of these different things that sort of get moved into this mumble jumble, is the central question of impeachment. Should the president be removed for those conversations and those efforts?
One senator deciding whether the president should be removed from office is making it clear he will not vote for witnesses to be called in the impeachment trial.
I'm not going to vote to approve witnesses because the House Democrats have had lots of witnesses. We heard from them over and over and over again.
Senator Tom Cotton of Arkansas. Meantime, the Trump defense team in his Senate impeachment trial resumes later this afternoon. A 5th case of coronavirus being confirmed in Arizona, and it comes about an hour after a 4th case was announced. The patient is a student at Arizona State University in Tempe but does not live on campus. Meantime, a few moments ago, Malaysia's government has announced it will ban travelers from the central Chinese city of Wuhan and other parts of that surrounding province. Meantime, this morning, France, Japan, and the U.S. are trying to arrange charter flights to help citizens leave Wuhan, the city where the outbreak began. Medical experts at the University of Hong Kong are saying the number of cases in China is likely far higher than the number reported so far. Officially, more than 2,700 cases of the virus have been recorded. The Hong Kong experts say the number is likely around 44,000. The U.S. cases include 2 in California, 1 in Illinois, and 1 in Washington. Airports like O'Hare continue to monitor passengers coming from China. The Chicago woman infected remains in stable condition. A 2-year-old boy is dead following a fire last week on Chicago's South Side. Cook County ME's office says Jacurion Lewis was critically hurt in the Wednesday blaze. The boy was pronounced dead over the weekend. Bulls host the Spurs later on tonight. College basketball yesterday, Northwestern knocked off by Ohio State, and Loyola fell in the Valley to Northern Iowa in overtime, 67-62. 5:33 is our time. We'll have a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Sean Hannity doesn't see much difference in the Democratic frontrunners.
You got Bernie Sanders now. Volunteers are being told to zero in on the weaknesses of fellow socialist Elizabeth Warren. My personal opinion is there's not really a dime's worth of difference between the two of them. They're both radical, extreme, left-wing socialists that want Medicare for all and would want the Green New Deal.
The Sean Hannity Show, afternoons at 2, right before Steve Cortez at 5 on AM 560. The Answer.
Hi, this is Amy Jacobson to talk about my incredible experience with Online Trading Academy. I signed up for my own free class, and you can too. You'll be introduced to skills to take control of your financial future. You'll learn the right moves to make when the economy turns and how to spend less time worrying about life and more time living it. You know, no one else will ever care about your financial future as much as you do. It's time for you to start learning how to invest in you. Seats are limited. Just call 844-778-7132 to attend and get 2 free passes to their next class so you can check this all out. And if you call right now, they will send you home with their Professionals Insider Kit. It's loaded with exclusive investing courses and some of their best lessons from the pros. This is a limited opportunity and seats go quickly, so call 844-778-7132. That's 844-778-7132, or visit them online at otaclass.com, otaclass.com.
This is Attorney Stephen Leahy, host of the IRS Radio Hour, heard right here on AM 560 every Sunday evening at 5 o'clock. Let me tell you about Bill. Bill's business slowed down and he fell behind on his taxes. Instead of filing his tax return, he decided to wait until he could pay. Well, 1 year turned to 2, turned to 3. Then the IRS threatened to contact his customers, take his house, his bank account, and his passport. Well, Bill hired me. We filed all of his tax returns and an appeal to slow the IRS down. Then we worked out an installment agreement based on how much he could pay, not on how much he owed. Now Bill can rely on the IRS protection plan. We will file his future tax returns and keep the IRS off his back so Bill can focus on growing his business. If you have questions about the IRS, you can get a copy of my book, Deal with Your IRS Problem Today, to learn the secrets of solving your IRS problem and save your business, your marriage, and your reputation. Call 312-664-6649. or go to freeirsbook.com.
It's open enrollment season, and MediShare is a Christian healthcare sharing ministry that saves most families about $500 a month. Google MediShare and see if it is a fit for you.
536 in the Team Hochberg Traffic Center. Here's Jim Talamonte.
We have reports of some precipitation around O'Hare and in the area this morning. So allow some following distance. Right now, expressways and tollways look to be in pretty good shape. We see some congestion on the inbound ride from the Stevenson to 18th Street. There was a collision there, quickly cleared. So you're looking at just a brief slowdown there, again, right between the Stevenson and 18th Street. Bishopford inbound traffic is building approaching the merge. We don't see any significant backup there yet. No problems to report on the Aidan, the Kennedy, the Eisenhower, or the Stevenson. Traffic builds for the morning rush. I-57's good. No issues right now at the tollways or northwest Indiana. In Willow Springs, Archer has reclosed flooding in 83 at Willow Springs Road. I'm Jim Talamonte on AM 560 The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the 1 Hour Heating and Air Conditioning Weather Center. Cloudy today, high 36. Tonight, clouds and 29. Tomorrow, flurries and 35. 28 at O'Hare with some freezing drizzle, as Jim said, around the area. Drive with care. Your next news update is at 6. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by the Money Hour Radio Show, Saturday afternoons at 3 on AM 560, The Answer. Brought to you by Pearshell Financial Group.
If you're looking for the latest news, insight into what it means, and the sharpest opinion, there's only one station in Chicago where you can turn, and it's this one. We're AM 560, The Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. We're talking about the passing of Kobe Bryant and the 8 other individuals that were killed in that helicopter crash yesterday. 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line, 646-36DA, turnkey.pro text line. Of course, the tributes and the memorials coming in from across the world immediately upon learning this. There was Alicia Keys starting the Grammys with a tribute yesterday.
But to be honest with you, we're all feeling crazy sadness right now. Because earlier today, Los Angeles, America, and the whole wide world lost a hero. And we're literally standing here heartbroken in the house that Kobe Bryant built.
And there are thousands of fans outside the Staples Center, too, last night, just
Right.
crying and bringing mementos and telling their Kobe Bryant stories.
It was a cool moment, the Spurs-Raptors game where they started the game each side with a 24-second shot clock violation as sort of a makeshift tribute to Kobe.
Or is that or the number 8, backcourt 8-second clock thing they did, too, and it was beautiful. I mean, I thought it was so cool, and everybody was so moved. Dwayne Wade released a Instagram video last night. He was crying, and a good friend LeBron James had just tweeted back and forth with him.
Well, it's interesting because this was the weekend that people were reminiscing about Kobe Bryant's greatness because LeBron James passed him for third all-time on the scoring list, so the irony abounds. And there's LeBron James giving an interview about Kobe. There's more irony there. I mean, it's almost like it's a strange circle of life story between the two of them, LeBron and Kobe. And remember this too. I mean, they're only 6 years apart in age.
I went to ABCD camp, and he came and talked to all the kids that was there, and I happened to be one of the kids that was there, and I was just listening. I was just trying to soak everything up I could, And I remember one thing that he said. He was like, if you want to try to be, great at it, or want to be one of the greats, you got to put the work in. There's no substitution to work. And I was a 15-year-old kid at that camp. You can actually find the footage of him at that camp.
A 21-year-old Kobe had been in the league for 4 years, talking to a 15-year-old LeBron, and then the full circle of LeBron in Philly, where Kobe grew up, playing for the Lakers.
Just seeing the work ethic that he put into the game. He had zero flaws offensively, zero. You backed off of him, he could shoot the three. You body him up a little bit, he can go around you. He can shoot the mid-range, he can post, he can make free throws. He had zero flaws offensively. We take it down to 2008 where we become the Redeem team. And it was a dream come true for me to be able to line up alongside of him. Just admired him for so many years, and seeing him from afar, and then being able to be in practices with him, and me watching and learning. So on. I mean, it's just too much. It's just too much. The story is just too much. It doesn't make sense. And just to make a long story short, now I'm here in the Lakers uniform in Philadelphia, where he's from, where one of the first time I ever met him, gave me his shoes. He won All-Star Week. It's surreal. It doesn't make no sense.
And you know who's shocked? Jim Gray. He's now a Fox News correspondent. They called him up because he was really good friends with Kobe's dad, and he's watched Kobe since the day he was born.
In fact, I love Kobe and his family, and it's just very, very sad and tragic. He still had a lot to put forth in the public eye. He was very heavily invested in telling children's stories and storytelling as he moved on from his basketball life. Won an Academy Award a year or so ago for a documentary. It's just a terrible story and a tragic ending to a man who was not only a great basketball player, but a tremendous father and had done so much for a lot of folks.
Ron in Salem, Wisconsin, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Hey, good morning. A couple of things. Alicia Keys, number one, still managed to get her political message out last night, too. But a sad tragedy with Kobe Bryant, a good man, led a remarkable life, but there was another man on that plane with his two daughters that died. Probably won't hear too much about them.
Well, we mentioned at the outset John Altobelli, who was the baseball coach for the Orange County College, and his wife, and I thought it was one daughter.
One daughter, yeah.
His wife and one daughter.
And they were traveling with Kobe because they were on the same girls' travel basketball team.
So we're, and then you have the pilot, so that's 6, and we're still
3 more
missing the identification of 3, right?
Yeah.
So we'll pass those along once
but all
those
police,
are identified.
LA County sheriffs kind of digging at TMZ yesterday, but they said that that they were all on the travel basketball team. If they weren't on the team, it was a player or a daughter.
Speaking of California Highway Patrol, California law enforcement, their choppers were grounded yesterday.
Yeah.
And so the question, it's a legitimate question to ask, even though this clearly was an experienced helicopter pilot and clearly somebody that Kobe had faith in. Should they have flown? Was it a reach? Well, there is some ATC that was making the rounds on Twitter that I picked up, and it's interesting to listen to this because there was that the chopper had to go around a couple of times to give way to other air traffic going into Van Nuys Airport. I think it was Van Nuys Airport, and but there was never any trouble until the chopper was heading into the landing pattern and then just broke contact. Listen.
Actually, with you for the special VFR transition, we are currently at 1400.
Helicopter 72 Echo X-ray Van Nuys Tower, wind calm, visibility 2 1/2, ceiling 1,100 overcast, Van Nuys altimeter 3016. Cleared into Van Nuys class Delta, northeast of Van Nuys along the 118 freeway westbound. Advise when you're in VFR conditions or when you're clear of the Van Nuys class Delta. Transition at or below 2,500 permitting.
2 Echo X-ray, advise in VFR condition, and then we stay on the 118. We're currently at 1400, and we have 0235.
Helicopter 2 Echo X-ray, thank you. And once you clear Van Nuys Delta, did you want to talk to SoCal?
Affirmative, 2 Echo X-ray. Tower for 2 Echo X-ray, can we go ahead and start turning to the southwest close to 11?
Helicopter 2 Echo X-ray, approved. And are you transitioning in VFR condition?
VFR condition 1,500, 2 Echo X-ray.
Helicopter 2 Echo X-ray, thank you. Contact SoCal now 134.2 for flight following 34-2.
34-2.
X-ray ident.
So he's handed off, and he's they're.
So X-ray, yeah, you're still on a 1200 code. Are you requesting flight following?
Right. Then there's no response.
2 Echo X-ray, what do you say intentions? 2 Echo X-ray, you're still too low level for flight following at this time.
And it's gone, and you see on the radar.
2 Echo X-ray, SoCal.
You see on the radar. So, I mean, if you understand the landing pattern, so he is entering the flight pattern on the downwind leg to turn base, which is right angle, and then final for the runway. So, the ceiling was 1,100 feet. You heard them say that. When your VFR, visual flight rules, then identify. So he's coming in, and he's in the landing pattern to land, and he makes the turn to base from downwind, and he just trails off. He never makes the next right angle turn to final to land on the runway. So something happened there.
They originally reported that there was a fire on board, and then I never heard any follow-up from that, and then once the plane crashed, it started a brush fire, so they couldn't get to them. But I don't think there's any survivors.
There's a fire on board, but I mean, you heard from him until the last 30 seconds of the communication as he's making his way to land, and there's no indication that there's any problem. Yeah, and then all of a sudden, he loses a contact, and it's gone. So, I don't know. I'm not a NTSB investigator.
Yeah, but you do fly. I mean, you have a pilot license.
So it's just it's just strange. I mean, maybe the mountains interfere with the communication, but what would have happened? What would have happened that catastrophically as he's making it? I mean, could it have been because, again, they had to go around for some time? Did they run out of fuel? It didn't sound, even though it was a low ceiling, it didn't sound like the weather conditions were that bad for an experienced pilot. I don't know, just speculation, but I thought people should hear that. Mike on the north side, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Good morning. Thanks for taking my call. Am I missing something? This guy was a basketball player. Say we're sorry and get over it. No. We had a state trooper get killed over the weekend, and 2 others slain. That affects us more. They took an oath to protect us. What, does somebody have a man crush on this guy? He was a basketball player. What's he for our team?
Our team. Okay, thanks for the call, Mike.
Well, he was on Team God, I love the fact that once he retired, he devoted his life to girls basketball and empowering young women to love the sport and giving them opportunities to play on teams and on leagues that, he didn't have to do that, but he did. And his daughter Giovanni, by the way. Well, real quick, I coach basketball. This is important because my girls yesterday were upset, and because they watch her all the time on YouTube. She has a huge following, millions. And if you want to see some good, fundamental, solid girls basketball at age 13, she's got it. That's why she's already being recruited. She's an amazing player.
Well, here's a concept too, Mike. I mean, you can be upset about the loss of Kobe Bryant and upset about the trooper that was killed at that cigar lounge in Lisle. The two are not mutually exclusive. You can respect Kobe Bryant for the iconic pop culture figure he was, well beyond basketball, obviously.
Like mayor of L.A.
Well, even forget just the influence. You can't deny the influence that somebody like him had. I mean, think about how this city would react and how the world would react if Michael Jordan had been cut down when he was 41 years old. Thank God he wasn't, and he's still healthy, wealthy, and wise, and enjoying life. Good for him. But I mean, think about what the reaction would be. So, Kobe Bryant is a figure on that level. That doesn't mean we can't also deal with the loss of people in uniform and the others. I just think that's a silly comment. Really, I mean, silly.
Connect with Dan and Amy using the AM560 mobile app. Download it today at 560theanswer.com/mobile.
There's a place where you can get custom metal products. If you manage a commercial kitchen, hotel, condo building, or food-grade manufacturing plant, then no matter the type of metal or size of the project, the skillfully trained fabrication team at Vans Industrial has you covered.
Hi, I'm Dave Van Camp, president of Vans Industrial. Custom metal fabrication is the backbone of my company. We fabricate stainless steel countertops, wall coverings, hoods, landscape planter boxes, industrial fan housings, and more. Vans Industrial uses all types of alloys like carbon steel, aluminum, brass, and polished stainless steel. And we have a laser cutting machine. Our laser can customize almost any project. Our team can design, fabricate, and install your project today.
Vans uses only the best and safest union-trained mechanics, insured at the highest level to perform the job right. Call 833-VANS-IND for a free inspection of your facility. That's 833-VANS-IND or on the web at vansindustrial.com.
Message and data rates may apply. Please don't text while driving.
If you've been in business more than 20 minutes, you've probably printed your logo on all kinds of promotional products. We all know logos work because they're on everything from the top of skyscrapers to the bottom of shoes. Ever wondered why? Or how to best use your logo to grow your business? Let us show you today for free. We're 4imprint, promotional product experts at your service. We're giving away the latest issue of Amplify, the digital magazine that reveals promotional product success stories absolutely free to everyone who texts BOOST to 88988. At 4imprint, we make your logo look perfect on thousands of promotional items. With our 100% guarantee, it'll be right the first time, on time, every time. Your free e-magazine will reveal invaluable insights that can attract new customers, build your brand, and grow your business. Get the latest issue of Amplify absolutely free by texting BOOST to 88988. That's BOOST to 88988.
Restore your youthful appearance with Salovin Age-Defying Skincare from Bella Pele Cosmetics. Packed with vitamin-rich ingredients, Salovin is a natural skincare line that leaves skin feeling hydrated, soft, and velvety smooth. Salovin uses the power of CBD, an effective age-defying skincare ingredient that can assist with reducing inflammation and improving skin hydration. Brighten and tighten with the eye cream, which helps reduce the appearance of fine lines, puffiness, and dark circles. The high-potency Lift and Firm Cream provides a CBD-infused pentapeptide facelift in a bottle. The Salovin Soft Finishing Moisturizer Cream is excellent for all skin types, provides hydration, and helps restore a youthful glow. Each Salovin product is gluten-free, cruelty-free, and infused with 100% pure CBD from organic whole hemp plants farmed and made right here in the USA. This luxury collection of skincare is available right now at Salovin.com. That's SALEVIN.com. For a limited time, use code AM560 at checkout for 20% off your first purchase.
Restaurants come and go, and very few last. But when you find a restaurant that served margaritas, fun, and fantastic food for over 2 decades, you can bet it's great. That's the one-of-a-kind landmark Cafe Salsa Mexican Grill and Tequila Bar in Countryside. Cafe Salsa offers daily lunch specials, happy hour in the bar, half-price house margaritas on Wednesdays, and on Monday and Tuesday, 2 for $22 dinner specials. Ready to eat? Try their Mexican-inspired influences on traditional fare like Cafe Salsa's honey chipotle glazed pork chops, amazing carne asada, or churrasco with mushroom salsa, fajitas, or the many flavorful shrimp, steak, and chicken dishes hot off the wood fire grill. Cafe Salsa's dining room is perfect for birthdays and family get-togethers, so check out their complete menu at cafesalsa.com or call 708-352-5100. Make your plans for lunch or dinner today at Cafe Salsa, 55th Street and LaGrange Road in Countryside, or cafesalsa.com.
AM 560, The Answer.
Dan and Amy, we're talking about the death of Kobe Bryant and the others on that helicopter that crashed yesterday. Ron on the south side, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Hey, good morning, Dan. Hey, you know what, guys? I really just have to agree with the last caller. And Dan, see, 50 years from now, when people think about Kobe Bryant, they're going to think of him just as a great ball player. See, I think relative to sports, and I know it has entertainment has its place in this country, but see, I think of Kurt Flood, who challenged the reserve clause that changed baseball, Muhammad Ali, Jim Brown. Mm-hmm. I'm just saying, guys, lastly, and definitely I think one of the people referred to me as a hero. Please, not a hero. The young man that died, that was from Hazel Crest, that died over in Kenya, those are heroes. He's not a hero. And again, Amy, I understand the girl basketball thing. 50 years from now, nobody will be talking about that. Have a good day.
Well, thanks for the call, Ron.
I doubt it.
It's not about whether people be talking about it. It's thinking about how athletes like Kobe Bryant or Michael Jordan or Larry Bird or Magic Johnson or Pete Maravich influence generation after generation of athletes. And so, I understand they're not role models, and I understand with few exceptions in sports they're not heroes, but they have unbelievable influence over young people. John Wooden as a basketball coach. John Wooden was just a basketball coach. No, he wasn't. He was a teacher. So this is why John Wooden's legacy will live on in the coaches that studied under him, in the approach,
players that he taught.
in the players that he taught, in the approach he took to the game in terms of character formation as much as X's and O's. And I think there's something to be said. Number one, Kobe Bryant's foundation will live on and ostensibly do good work. Number two, all the kids that are part of the Kobe Bryant programs, all those girls, including his other daughters, that's a generational handoff. And then, of course, all the players that came up idolizing Kobe Bryant the same way people of my age group came up idolizing Dr. J, Magic, Bird, and then Jordan. So, I think you're minimizing the influence. It doesn't mean we're all going to sit around and reminisce about everything Kobe did or didn't do, that we want him on Mount Rushmore. But I just think people are really minimizing the influence of figures like Kobe Bryant.
And he was a broken man. He made mistakes. He admitted it, and he recommitted himself to God and to his wife and to his family. And I think that's beautiful, and I think it's horrible that they found out through TMZ. Listen to this.
We have a manifest that indicates that there was 9 people on board the aircraft, the pilot plus 8 individuals. There is wide speculation as to who the identities are. However, it is entirely inappropriate right now to identify anyone by name until the coroner has made the identification through their very deliberative process, and they've made notifications to next of kin. And it'd be extremely disrespectful to understand that your loved one was perished and you learn about it from TMZ. That is just wholly inappropriate, so we're not going to be going there.
That's how I learned about it. And, you're stunned. You think at first, wait.
I thought it was a joke.
Yeah, I wanted to make sure this wasn't some, some parody site or something. Philip in Blue Island.
the last two callers are kind of confusing. He made a mistake, and I think that's part of what they're trying to say. They're trying to lower his impact. Why, I don't know. But again, when I look at Kobe, I see inspiration. I see a good father. I see somebody who, at this point, after retirement, was giving back greatly to the community, and not just the black community, even though that's a powerful image for a black man to be like Kobe, but for all children or all youth, like Amy talking about her young girls. Actually, I went to my granddaughter's basketball game yesterday.
Philip, I'm sorry. I appreciate your comments, but we're up against the clock. But thank you for the call.
Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer, a new wrinkle in the impeachment trial. It is 6 a.m. WIND, Chicago.
Was weather a factor? I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. That's the big question the day after the helicopter crash in California that killed former NBA star Kobe Bryant, his 13-year-old daughter Gianna, and 7 other people.
The FAA is on scene. The NTSB will assist in the investigation as well. The National Weather Service says there were low clouds Sunday morning at the time of the crash, and while visibility was likely reduced, they had not issued a fog advisory.
That's Fox's Jessica Rosenthal in Calabasas. A lot of tributes for Kobe Bryant.
I know we all feel the same way about such a great leader.
That's former NBR star Dwayne Wade on Twitter.
We're literally standing here heartbroken in the house that Kobe Bryant built.
That was Alicia Keys paying homage at the Grammys on CBS. When they handed out the awards, Billie Eilish was the big winner. Bad Guy won Song and Record of the Year. She won Album of the Year and Best New Artist. President Trump's legal team will defend him again today at the Senate trial. Alan Dershowitz told Fox.
Even if the factual allegations are true, which are highly disputed, in which the defense team will show contrary evidence, but even if true, they did not allege impeachable offenses.
But the big story this morning involves John Bolton. Fox's Rachel Sutherland live in Washington.
David, it's not yet published book. Former National Security Advisor John Bolton claims President Trump told him he wanted military aid withheld until Ukraine announced political investigations. The New York Times reports a manuscript also recounts Secretary of State Mike Pompeo and Defense Secretary Mark Esper pressing the president about releasing the aid several times. President Trump is pushing back on Twitter, writing, "I never told John Bolton that the aid to Ukraine was tied to investigations in the Democrats, including the Bidens. In fact, he never complained about this at the time of his very public termination." Dave?
America's listening to Fox News.
Some freezing drizzle being reported in the area, 6:02 on AM 560. The Answer, and good morning, everyone. I'm Mike Scott. 5th case of coronavirus being confirmed in Arizona. Comes about an hour after a 4th case was announced yesterday. Remains 1 case here in Illinois. The CDC says they're monitoring more than 60 others who have shown signs of the virus nationwide. Airports like O'Hare continue to monitor passengers arriving from China. The Chicago woman with the virus remains in stable condition. More details coming out about that helicopter former NBA player Kobe Bryant was flying in when it crashed, killing everyone on board. The helicopter information website Helios shows the Sikorsky S-76B was previously owned by the state of Illinois from 2007 until 2015, when it was put up for auction with other aircraft by then Governor Bruce Rauner. Former Chicago police lieutenant and state lawmaker named to lead the Harvey Police Department has been placed on leave after just 8 months on the job. Eddie Winters was placed on leave last week pending his removal from that position. Harvey Mayor Christopher Clark sent a memo to all city employees last week noting the leave. Clark is declining to comment on his reasoning, while Winters is declining to give any details. A Georgia man who was wanted for rape is in custody after being arrested last week in Gurnee. Lake County Sheriff's Office says Demetrius Bass was wanted for rape and sodomy charges from an incident reported near the Alabama capital city of Montgomery. Bulls host the Spurs later on tonight. College hoops last night, Northwestern knocked off by Ohio State. Loyola fell in overtime to Northern Iowa, 67-62. Great to see Lexi Held hit 5 of DePaul's season-high 18 three-pointers. The number 11 Lady Blue Demons a win over Georgetown. The news service of Upwork with the largest network of independent professionals like developers, designers, and data scientists, you name it. and they're proven, rated, and reviewed. So when you need in-demand talent, on demand, Upwork is how. 6:04 and a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
On Tuesday, February 4th, President Donald Trump will deliver his State of the Union address to Congress, to the country, and to the world. And we are throwing a party. And you're invited. It's a taste of freedom. The State of the Union viewing party, presented by healthinsurancementors.com at Belvedere Banquets in Elk Grove Village. Enjoy dinner and drinks with fellow AM 560 listeners as you watch the president's speech. Tickets are on sale now at 560theanswer.com/taste.
I'm Nick Soboleski, a Select Quote agent with a true story that could save you hundreds of dollars a year. A woman named Linda just called. Her husband, Ray, has a $300,000 group life insurance policy, but is changing jobs and can't take it with him. Well, I shopped the many highly rated term life insurance companies we represent and found Ray, who is 41 and takes medication to control his cholesterol, a 10-year, $500,000 policy for under $27 a month. That's almost twice the coverage for less than half of what he had paid. If SelectQuote hasn't shopped for your life insurance, you're probably paying too much.
For your free quote, call 800-597-0315. That's 800-597-0315. 800-597-0315. Or go to SelectQuote.com. Since 1985, we shop, you save.
Get full details on the example policy at SelectQuote.com/commercials. Or price could vary depending on your health, issuing company, and other factors. Not available in all states.
Signature Bank is Chicago's fastest growing independently owned business bank. It's a bank where relationships still matter. Signature Bank knows your name and your story. I'm Dan Proft, and I know this because Signature Bank is my business bank.
I'm Frank Vance, co-owner of Egan Vance Insurance Agency on Chicago's Northwest Side and a customer of Signature Bank. In my line of work, we pride ourselves on being there for our clients when they need it the most, and we recognize when someone does the same for us. As Egan Vance was expanding, we wanted to buy a much sought-after building in the neighborhood. We couldn't waste any time. I called Signature Bank, and that was all it took. I didn't have to talk to multiple people in siloed departments with multiple forms to fill out. One call did it all. As the one who was always looking out for my clients, it was a great change to know that my bank, Signature Bank, was looking out for me.
Signature Bank is looking for their next success story. To learn more about turning your business vision into reality, visit signaturebank.bank. Signature Bank, helping local businesses succeed. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Do you own or rent your home? Sure you do. Fortunately, Geico makes it easy to bundle your home and auto insurance. It's a good thing, too, because having a home is hard work. Go to geico.com, get a quote, and see how much you could save. Geico.com. Easy.
6:07, Team Hochberg Traffic Center time, and Jim Talamonte.
Metra has delays on the Milwaukee North line this morning due to mechanical problems. Inbound Kennedy is heavy from around Canfield to Nagel. It's 23 minutes O'Hare to downtown. Outbound 26, heavy Bryn Mawr to Canfield. 8 in this spot. Inbound Eisenhower traffic tight 9th Avenue to Des Plaines Avenue and Ashland to the Burns Circle. 31 minutes, 390 to downtown. Outbound it's 5. Inbound Stevenson, now you're looking at about a 5-minute delay from Central to Kedzie. Inbound Ryan, about 17 minutes, 95th to downtown. Outbound fine at 14. I-57's good. Bishop Ford, got a 3-minute delay, 103rd to the merge. Tollways are fine. No problems to report right now on I-80 or Northwest Indiana. That's traffic. I'm Jim Talamonte on AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next in our 1-hour heating and air conditioning weather center. Our meteorologist, Steve Williams.
Cloudy skies today and tonight. The high today 36, low tonight at 29. Clouds and a few flurries tonight, low 35. Wednesday and Thursday cloudy. The high Wednesday 34, Thursday's high 35. I'm Steve Williams on AM 560, The Answer.
28 at O'Hare. We've had reports of some freezing drizzle in the area. Drive with care. Your next news update is at 6:30, and Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by the Alpha Wealth Group, bringing the trilogy of estate, tax, and investment planning together. Visit alphawealthgroup.com for a free report.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560, The Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. So a pandemic on the order of the Black Plague or just a lot of hype talking about the coronavirus. One Harvard-trained epidemiologist, taught at the school for 15 years, put out a Twitter string on Saturday calling the virus thermonuclear pandemic level bad, declaring, "I really hate to be the epidemiologist who has to admit this, but we are potentially faced with an unchecked pandemic the world has not seen since the 1918 Spanish influenza." Okay.
Oh, that killed my great-grandfather, the Spanish flu, also known as the Army flu. But the thing that we learned is that you can infect someone before having the symptoms yourself. That's different than SARS. That's different than Ebola. This is serious, and that they're surprised at the rapid spread of this. Now, I know that they're quarantined or have up 50 million plus people on lockdown, meaning you can't travel. The airport's shut down in Wuhan. You can't take public transportation. If you get in your car, they turn you around and you have to go back home. But the Lunar New Year, folks, is going to be over soon. And people that are there right now in China celebrating the Lunar New Year are coming back on Thursday and on Friday. And I say we do not let them in. Take them to a location, remote location, and have them be quarantined for 14 days. And then if they show no symptoms, signs, then you can let them back in. Or not let them back in, but you can let them go home.
Dr. Eric Feigl Ding, this is the Harvard-trained epidemiologist I was referring to, so we can infuse some medical professionals into this discussion. 99% quarantine lockdown containment of Wuhan will not even reduce the epidemic spread by a third in the next 2 weeks. Thus, I really hate to be the epidemiologist who has to admit this, but we're potentially faced with this unchecked pandemic the world hasn't seen since the 1918 Spanish influenza. Let's hope it doesn't reach that level, but we now live in the modern world with faster transportation than 18. The World Health Organization and CDC needs to declare public health emergency ASAP. And he goes into some of the attack rate methodology with respect to this virus. And it goes on to reference Lancet, which is the respected British medical journal, now reports the coronavirus contagious even when no symptoms, specifically crucial to isolate patients, quarantine contacts as soon as possible because asymmetric infection appears possible.
And you know why this is serious too, Dan? Because the State Department now is flying out American citizens out of Wuhan. And they're taking them to San Francisco. Take them, again, to a remote location and have the pilot and everybody on that plane be quarantined for 14 days. Well, I mean, and I don't trust our government to tell us the truth. I mean, we have a woman in Chicago who was in Wuhan, left first week of December to take care of her sick father. She came back January 13th. Had no symptoms, but they won't tell us what airline she came back on. Where's that plane that she was on? Why isn't everybody on that plane quarantined? It makes sense. And they're like, oh, well, we're lucky she didn't take public transportation. She stayed home.
A few days after arriving home, the patient began to feel unwell. She called ahead to alert her doctor to her illness, rather than just presenting to a clinic or emergency department.
Yeah, and now she's in Hoffman Estates. It's St. Alexius and Hoffman Estates under quarantine in an isolated area of the hospital. But they didn't bring her downtown, did they? And they kept saying, to the public, well, her doctor's out that way. Bull jive, if you're believing that. They didn't bring her down there because you have Children's Hospital where people have immune deficiency disorders. You've got Northwestern. You have Prentice where babies are being born every second. And you have they're not going to bring her to that hub of hospitals.
So?
I think
what's the issue?
My issue, I have two issues. One, let us know what airline she took. What plane was she on? Where those other passengers, she could have infected them easily because we learned over the weekend that you can infect someone before having the symptoms yourself.
Yeah, well, there are competing medical opinions on this. Anthony Fauci, who's the director of the National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases, said Sunday the American public shouldn't worry about the outbreak in China. It's a very, very low risk to the United States. It's something we as public health officials need to take very seriously. It isn't something the American public needs to worry about or be frightened about because we have ways of preparing and screening people coming in from China, and we have ways of responding like we did with the one case in Seattle, Washington, who had traveled to China and brought back the infection. So that's one perspective.
312-642-5600 is our turnkey Pro answer line. 64636, type in DA, then a quick comment.
In addition, Michael Fomento, who's written a lot about viruses over the decades, writing in the New York Post, don't buy the media hype over the new China virus. The best remedy for epidemic hysteria is perspective. How is this outbreak different and thus potentially more dangerous from other diseases we have dealt with in the past or are dealing with now? Right. To a comparison, U.S. flu death rate is also very difficult. As a share of hospitalizations, the regular flu death is 8.5% to 17%, according to the CDC. That's considerably higher than for Wuhan.
Well, yeah, and most people who die are the elderly. But in Wuhan, Dan, people that are young and healthy are dying. 30-year-olds, 20-year-olds. They're not, I mean, people that work out that are healthy are dying from this.
Well, actually, so far, that most of the flu fatalities, the coronavirus, people over 65, people with complicated immune systems, people with serious pre-existing conditions. 2 of the 17 Wuhan dead, initially 17 Wuhan dead, were 89-year-olds with pre-existing conditions. The youngest was 48 and suffering from diabetes and a stroke.
And now the death toll is up to 80 this morning. But Jay Humphries, remember his former NBA star, turned coach in China. He knew it was time to get the heck out of Dodge.
It's been a little strange. I've been there since last June. So I've been in and out of China a few times, and this is one of the rare times that I felt like it was time for me to leave.
Betsy McCaughey, chairman of the Committee to Reduce Infection Deaths, writing in the Wall Street Journal, if you want to be safe, the best thing to do is stay away from the hospital. Canada learned the hard way in 2003 as deaths from SARS soared in the province of Ontario. 77% of people infected with SARS there contracted it in the hospital. Yeah. They were patients, visitors, and healthcare workers. Another 17% got it at home, often from a healthcare worker who lived with them. In short, SARS started as a travel infection, but rapidly became a hospital infection because of lax infection control standards. The same laxity is found in most U.S. hospitals today. That, to me, seems like the real concern. Poor adherence to infection control protocols were to blame with SARS in Canada. Staff failed to wear masks and disposable gowns, didn't wear face shields while inserting breathing tubes down patients' airways. After the initial Toronto patient was finally admitted to a hospital room, it took 5 more hours for him to be isolated. Sloppy infection control isn't only a Canadian problem. A June 2017 literature review of shortcomings in U.S. emergency rooms found a lack of adequate distance between patients, use of contaminated equipment, failure to use shields to protect healthcare workers who are intubating patients, and failure to ask coughing patients to wear masks.
Well, I ordered masks for everybody here, and I'm stockpiling in my basement food because, you know, my friends, my friend Sue lived in Wuhan, China for a year, and she said it's a state of war over there. There's no food on the shelves. It's a state of panic. And Governor Jellybelly says our healthcare system's prepared, Dan. What happened in Canada, Toronto's not going to happen here.
Illinois has a strong public health system that has been proactively preparing for this situation.
Really?
Well, there is this concern about hospital preparedness in America, not limited to Chicago, but America generally, as Ms. McCaughey points out in this Wall Street Journal editorial. So let me know if you're going to be unavailable or if we need to drop an ISDN line in your nuclear fallout shelter.
I'm thinking about cashing in stocks today because if everything is made in China, folks, and they are not going to work, everything is going to shut down. And I'm just being prepared. I'm going to cash out some stocks, stockpiling food and other things, and getting masks, like the real masks, the ones that you wear to ward off tuberculosis, the army masks. I ordered that on Amazon, and you guys should too before they run out. I'm telling you. I know. My family thinks that I'm insane.
Well, they're right.
Well,
I mean, you're not
just
insane. You're not being careful. You're being hysterical. But that's okay. I mean, it's your right to do that. But I mean, this like Chicken Little routine is like so beyond the pale and so science based. Your views. I mean, you run around with your hair on fire all you want. God bless you. But I will take the opposing viewpoint of there's no need to stockpile foodstuffs. There's no need to sell off your position and equities, and there's no need to run around with masks on like you live in Wuhan in Chicago. So Amy and I have a difference of opinion there.
I've been double dosing on Balance of Nature and vitamin C packets.
I mean, good grief. some perspective, as Michael Fomento suggested. But
No, I just
know
don't.
that's-
I don't trust our government to say our hospitals are ready and that they're going to keep us safe when they won't even tell us what plane she was on and won't tell us if they've contacted any of the passengers on that plane, who was sitting next to her, who was sitting behind her, in front of her. They could all be carrying it around and giving it to people too. They could be going to schools, going to work, going to church. I didn't even usher a church yesterday. I don't want to be around people.
Okay. Well,
But I'm just saying, I just-
self-quarantine. All right. Well, that's your choice as an American. Luke and Maywood, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Hey, listen. Question. Why are all the folks in Chinatown wearing masks? I'd like you guys to elaborate on that. Are they trying to tell us something?
No, they're not.
And the other question is, Dan,
it's an
the
Asian
mother came in from China that is currently sick now. Did her father have it? Okay.
Did
So,
the mother who
guys,
came in
you're
from
talking-
China?
No, the woman that came in, we don't know if she said her father was ill. That's why she traveled
There you go.
to
That's
Wuhan.
right. Thanks for-
and I don't know if he's
But-
still alive or
And,
what.
and she's in her 60s too. That woman. Just FYI. Yeah. Thanks for the call. Luke.
That's old. That's like
Well, you don't know her medical
No,
profile.
I don't.
I'm saying she's not this like a young, strong, and she's still being felled by this virus. Yeah. There's also this other actually interesting geopolitical aspect to it. The virus that hit Wuhan has two laboratories linked to Chinese biowarfare program. Two laboratories linked to the Chinese biowarfare program there. The Wuhan Institute of Virology. The laboratory is the only declared site in China capable of working with deadly viruses. This is a piece by Bill Gertz in the Washington Times talking about whether or not this was the result of something that the Chinese government was working on in terms of biowarfare. There's also a story in Zero Hedge about the prospect that this was smuggled from Canada. What? Last year, a mysterious shipment was caught smuggling coronavirus from Canada. It was traced to Chinese agents working at a Canadian lab. Subsequent investigation by some Indian outlet linked the agents to Chinese biological warfare program from where the virus is suspected to have leaked, causing the Wuhan coronavirus outbreak. So, is this a government malfunction, their germ warfare program in China, whatever that is? But there apparently is this institute in Wuhan, so this is a whole nother
And can you imagine if that happened here, where they would shut down O'Hare and Midway, not be able to take public transportation? If you're in your car on 90, turn you around to go home. I don't know if we could handle it.
Apparently, that sounds like that's what you want them to do.
No, I just don't want. I think that they should take people to a specialized location if they have symptoms or come down with a coronavirus.
Okay, well, we'll pass along your recommendations to President Xi.
There's a lot of area in Texas. They can just go somewhere, and then
you want to do
a decontamination or quarantine them because they say it takes 14 days. We'll know
Chinese Americans coming back to China. Coming back to
all
America.
go to maybe an old army base that they can reopen or something.
Sure.
I just don't think they should put the public's safety at risk. I don't.
An internment camp for Chinese Americans.
No, I didn't say internment camp.
Quarantine for Chinese Americans.
Well, even those U.S. diplomats that are over there that were, they shut down the State Department in Wuhan, they should go to the same place. Everyone, same area.
For how long there?
14 days. That's the incubation period.
Paul in
That's what they do
Plainfield, what do you think of Amy's plan for martial law?
Yeah, I don't think so. Didn't this woman from Chicago fly back on January 13th? It's been 15 days, right?
And
or
she has
14
symptoms,
days. So,
yeah.
Yeah, but wouldn't everybody else on the plane have already presented with symptoms, and then we would have known about other additional cases?
Well, I'm sure they're studying 600 possible. I'm sorry,
There is
60
that.
possible cases that haven't been confirmed of other people.
Thanks for the call, Paul.
And our government, our city leaders won't tell us if that's from her flight or anything. They're leaving us out in the dark.
Marty in Naperville.
Good morning, kids. Two quick things. Number one, it's funny when Governor Jellybelly talks about health. Yeah, right.
Yeah. Well.
And two, if you want to profit from this, invest in limes, because nothing goes with the corona like a lime.
Yeah, it's true.
And it's actually
Well,
not.
thanks for
I mean,
coming.
somebody started pronouncing it coronavirus after the beer, but it's Coronavirus.
I'm sorry, it's what?
Coronavirus.
Yeah.
Not corona. We're not all getting drunk here, folks.
Okay, name assassinator. Frank in Arlington Heights.
Hey, good morning, Amy. You're hyperventilating over all of this. I don't think it'll be that bad, but
I hope not. I hope I'm wrong.
This sort of thing, though, is historically. You look at 1918, 1919. With lots of people moving around all over the world, and when we have a global economy like this, when you have free trade that encourages it, what else are we going to expect?
Well,
so this type of thing will eventually happen.
Well, we shouldn't allow people to move about the world. I mean, come on.
Not right now. They're not.
I'm just saying, this is the kind of thing. It's a logical consequence of it. We didn't have as much trade prior to the 1980s, 1990s. This is a logical consequence. It'll eventually happen. Whether this is a really bad one or another one, it's going to happen. You have people moving around are going to carry the diseases with them.
Yeah. Okay.
You're done right.
Thanks for the call, Frank. Yeah.
Fellow Arlington Heightser. Well, and also maybe people in China should stop eating wild animals from markets, endangered species. I mean, they first thought it was from a bat, who then gave it to a cobra snake that was then eaten by a 32-year-old man, who then he got the virus and spread it to other people.
On Sunday, the Chinese Communists imposed a temporary nationwide ban on the trade of wild animals and quarantined all wildlife breeding centers. Candace in Mount Pleasant, Wisconsin. Candace in Mount Pleasant, Wisconsin.
Oh. All right, can I hear you guys? Hey, remember that movie, Amy, with Gwyneth Paltrow, where she goes over to China to work on a business deal, and the guy in the back has the wild animals in the cages and chops them up, and then she has the virus? That's you.
Fine.
All right.
I'm not seeing any movies to encourage
we'll get you some of those
crazy behavior.
We'll get you some of those Gwyneth Paltrow candles for your fallout shelter. Joe in Villa Park.
Yeah, Amy, I wonder if you're going to take a line from Naked Gun 3.5 and buy a couple of big body condoms.
That's a good idea. Thanks for the call, Joe.
I did order full body suits.
Good. Yeah, see, if you see anybody walking around in Lakeview in a hazmat suit, that's Amy. No big deal.
Hear about the big stories of the day, then talk about them right here on Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
This is attorney Stephen Leahy, host of the IRS Radio Hour, heard right here on AM 560 every Sunday evening at 5 o'clock. Let me tell you about Bill. Bill's business slowed down and he fell behind on his taxes. Instead of filing his tax return, he decided to wait until he could pay. Well, 1 year turned to 2, turned to 3. Then the IRS threatened to contact his customers, take his house, his bank account, and his passport. Well, Bill hired me. We filed all of his tax returns and an appeal to slow the IRS down. Then we worked out an installment agreement based on how much he could pay, not on how much he owed. Now Bill can rely on the IRS protection plan. We will file his future tax returns and keep the IRS off his back so Bill can focus on growing his business. If you have questions about the IRS, you can get a copy of my book, Deal with Your IRS Problem Today, to learn the secrets of solving your IRS problem and save your business, your marriage, and your reputation. Call 312-664-6649 or go to freeirsbook.com.
Hey, networks of the future are finally here, and Turnkey IT is ready to set up your business. And guess what? Serverless networks help you save money, increase productivity, and minimize the headaches by not having to purchase or maintain a local server in your building. Think about it. Unleash your business from having a server. You continue to have all the tools you rely on with Microsoft 365, including Outlook, Excel, PowerPoint, and more. Chat, call, and collaborate using Microsoft Teams. And with Turnkey IT, each user gets a terabyte of storage with all files and folders stored, backed up, and ready to be shared securely within your organization. Can your business go serverless? Turnkey IT is offering a free 5-point assessment to determine if your business qualifies, and it takes just minutes. Just visit turnkey.pro today. That's turnkey.pro. Turnkey IT is just like you, a locally owned business that understands the needs of other local businesses. They specialize in working with businesses that employ 5 to 200 employees. Hey, leave the technical stuff to the pros so you can focus on what's important. Visit turnkey.pro today. That's turnkey.pro.
2020 is the year your business is going to thrive. Or will it?
Resolve to use digital marketing to your advantage with the help from the pros at Salem Surround. Whether you're just testing the waters of digital marketing or already have a plan in place that's not getting results, we give you all the right tools to surround your target audience and turn website visitors into website leads. Salem Surround provides your business with all your marketing needs under one roof. Face it, if you're not effectively using digital media, you're behind the competition and losing sales. Salem Surround will help identify any weak points in your marketing strategy and consult with you to bring solutions that will meet your needs and exceed your expectations. Total market penetration for increased return on investment. Contact Salem Surround for a free evaluation of your digital presence and learn how to get your advertising message in front of today's consumers. Learn more at surroundchicago.com. That's surroundchicago.com, connecting you with new customers.
All right, you want to get your immune system up to snub, especially with this coronavirus and because of the flu and because of colds. And the best way to boost your immune system is by eating well, and that means getting enough fruits and veggies, which I know you aren't doing on your own. And that's where Balance of Nature comes in. I double dosed over the weekend. I took 12 capsules of Balance of Nature, and with that, you're getting 20 servings and 62 fruits and veggies. You hear stories right here on this station about how people's lives have changed by taking Balance of Nature, and the next story could be yours. Experience the Balance of Nature difference for yourself and make 2020 a year of better health for yourself. And right now, Balance of Nature offering free shipping and 35% any new preferred order of fruits and veggies. Hey, folks, start your journey to better health today by calling 800-246-8751. That's 800-246-8751. Use discount code Chicago or simply go to balanceofnature.com, discount code Chicago.
AM 560, The Answer.
Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
When did Americans stop believing in everything? We're going to get the answer to that question from Yuval Levin, Director of Social, Cultural, and Constitutional Studies at the American Enterprise Institute, who's got a new book out on the topic. That's at 6:36.
And there's a new wrinkle in the impeachment trial, thanks to John Bolton's book. But now let's head into the newsroom. Here is Mike Scott.
28 degrees. We've had off and on freezing drizzle throughout the area this morning. And a fifth case of coronavirus being confirmed in Arizona. Came about an hour after a fourth case was announced. The patient is a student at Arizona State University in Tempe, but does not live on campus. The helicopter carrying Kobe Bryant and 8 others that crashed outside L.A. was flying in foggy conditions considered dangerous enough that local police agencies grounded their helicopters. Bryant's chopper plunged into a rugged hillside Sunday with an impact that scattered debris over an area the size of a football field, killing everyone on board. Former Laker Hall of Famer Kareem Abdul-Jabbar last night remembered Kobe Bryant.
To Kobe's family, I want to send my most sincere and heartfelt regrets and prayers, and my thoughts are with you guys.
Bryant and his daughter were among 9 who died. The NTSB is heading up the investigation into that accident. President Trump's lawyers resumed their defense in the Senate impeachment trial. Today, this afternoon, they began presenting the case for the president on Saturday. House impeached the president last month. House impeachment manager is admitting now that Democrats gave in to the president's stonewalling by not forcing witnesses to testify.
If we had waited for 3 or 4 years, the election would be over. The issue would be almost moot.
That's Zoe Lofgren, while Indiana Senator Mike Braun was on NBC's Meet the Press.
Put together a broad, comprehensive case, but it was circumstantial in nature.
The Indiana Republican has said before that the president's actions were inappropriate but not worthy of impeachment. American officials say rockets hit the U.S. Embassy in Baghdad Sunday. The rockets slammed into the embassy dining area. No one killed. Reports of one minor injury. Chicago police are searching for 3 suspects who stole an ATM from a business in the West Loop. An employee told officers the trio entered the vestibule of the business on West Jackson Boulevard and swiped that ATM early this morning. A 2-year-old is dead following a fire last week on the south side. Cook County Medical Examiner's Office says Jacurian Lewis was critically hurt Wednesday. The boy died later at Comer Children's Hospital over the weekend. Bulls host the Spurs later tonight. College hoops yesterday. Northwestern Knocked off by Ohio State, Loyola fell to Northern Iowa in the Valley in overtime. The news service of Upwork, with the largest network of independent professionals like developers, designers, and data scientists, you name it. And they're proven, rated, and reviewed. So when you need in-demand talent on demand, Upwork is how. A check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Mike Gallagher knows why the impeachment circus started.
The reason behind the whole impeachment hoax, it was just to say he's been impeached for life. Wow.
It's like all they've got.
Well, we're not going to probably get him removed from office. He very well may win this year. Well, but at least we can say he was impeached. Aha! We got that on him.
The Mike Gallagher Show. Weekdays at 9, right before Dennis Prager at 11 on AM 560. The Answer.
Hi, this is Amy Jacobson to talk about my incredible experience with Online Trading Academy. I signed up for my own free class, and you can too. You'll be introduced to skills to take control of your financial future. You'll learn the right moves to make when the economy turns and how to spend less time worrying about life and more time living it. You know, no one else will ever care about your financial future as much as you do. It's time for you to start learning how to invest in you. Seats are limited. Just call 844-778-7132 to attend and get 2 free passes to their next class so you can check this all out. And if you call right now, they will send you home with their Professionals Insider Kit. It's loaded with exclusive investing courses and some of their best lessons from the pros. This is a limited opportunity and seats go quickly, so call 844-778-7132. That's 844-778-7132, or visit them online at otaclass.com, otaclass.com.
Dan Proft here along with Amy Jacobson.
And we wanted to take just a minute to say thank you to each and every one of you who participated in our annual Food for the Poor campaign over the past 6 weeks.
Because of you and your generosity, we were able to raise more than $215,000 to provide food for an entire year for displaced Venezuelan children and their families living in Colombia.
We especially want to thank the many business benefactors who supported this campaign. Now, when you hear their commercials running on this station in the coming months, please support their business as a way of thanking them for their generosity.
Just because the Christmas season is over, that doesn't mean that the need has gone away. You can still make a tax-deductible gift of any amount to Food for the Poor by calling 844-862-4673 or visit 560theanswer.com/food. That's 560theanswer.com/food.
And on behalf of all of us here at AM 560 The Answer and at Food for the Poor, thanks again for your generosity.
It's open enrollment season, and MediShare is a Christian healthcare sharing ministry that saves most families about $500 a month. Google MediShare and see if it is a fit for you.
It is 6:36 in the Team Hochberg Traffic Center. Here's Jim Telemonte.
There are delays on Metro's Milwaukee North Line due to mechanical problems, and the train scheduled to leave Lake Forest at 7:48 will not operate because of that. The Edens is still okay, getting a little congested inbound approaching the junction. About Kennedy, traffic slow Cumberland to Lawrence, 26 minutes O'Hare to downtown. Outbound 30 is heavy from Cumberland to 190, where the delays continue to around Bessie Coleman Drive. Inbound Eisenhower delays start at Manheim, 35 minutes, 390 to downtown. Outbound 30, inbound Stevenson, we're now looking at about 37 minutes, 355 to Lakeshore Drive. Bryant, 20 minutes, 95 to downtown. I-57 a bit tight approaching the merge. Bishop Ford, slow at Cottage Grove. Outbound past 130th, there's a crash. I'm Jim Telemonte on AM 560 The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next in our 1-hour heating and air conditioning weather center. Cloudy, 36 today. 28 at O'Hare. Next news at 7. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560 The Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. And I talked about this piece in New York Times last week on my network show. We didn't get to it on the morning show, so excited to get to it with the author here this morning. Yuval Levin is a director of social, cultural, and constitutional studies at the American Enterprise Institute. And he wrote this piece for the New York Times that folds into a new book that he has out, A Time to Build. How did Americans lose faith in everything, is the question he asks. And this is about the disintegration of the legitimacy of so many of our civic institutions that form the bedrock of our free society. He says the question that we do not ask as much as we need to, and we meaning like all of us in our various roles within some of these organizing institutions, schools, law enforcement, academia, the arts, obviously the military. The question, given my role here, how should I behave? That's what people who take an institution they're involved with seriously would ask. As a president or a member of Congress, a teacher or a scientist, a lawyer, a doctor, a pastor or a member, a parent or a neighbor, what should I do here? That's the question he suggests that we're not asking enough, and we need to if we want to restore these institutions, perhaps become a little bit less polarized and, have a little bit more comity among the body populace. For more on this topic, pleased to be joined by Yuval Levin. Again, his book, A Time to Build, From Family and Community to Congress and the Campus, How Recommitting to Our Institutions Can Revive the American Dream. Yuval Levin, thanks so much for joining us. Appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
So I like the question, given my role here, how should I behave? It sort of commands a kind of thoughtfulness and self-restraint that is generally lacking. But first diagnose the larger problem that I'm sort of insinuating, what our institutions have become versus what they need to be.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it. This is really, it's a book about the problems that our country faces that run deeper than ideology, that run to the core of our culture, our politics, our national identity. And they're problems that are rooted in failures of responsibility, so that at the top of so many of our institutions, we think naturally of politics, but as you say, also in the professions, in education, and even in American civic life, religion, elsewhere, we find people who are using institutions as platforms to get prominence, to perform, to be seen and heard, rather than thinking of institutions as being formative of them, as giving them a certain responsibility, providing them with certain obligations that they have to meet, so that rather than asking, given that I have this position, this responsibility, what should I do here? They're using the position, the responsibility to gain prominence in the big culture war fights that are sort of the national entertainment these days. And I think that recovering some idea of what institutional obligations are and what they ought to mean to us could help us to turn the temperature down on those fights. They don't go away, they're important, they matter. But if we first see that we owe one another something, then it becomes a little easier to understand how it is that we're supposed to live together in a society that so often is divided.
So does that mean a little bit more focus on the micro, sort of where you live versus the macro?
Exactly.
Like, you know, yeah.
Absolutely. Our life should be much more bottom up than top down. It's not I'll tell you something. I live in Maryland. Local elections here for our county council very often now revolve around what you think of Donald Trump. And that's crazy, right? That's a completely upside down way to think about what the responsibility of our local officials are. If you begin from the bottom, if you begin by saying, we have these problems in common, we need to think about them together, here's what I would do, here's what you would do, then I think not only local government and not only national government, but a lot of what we do together in different institutions could function a little better. Rather than thinking this is a way to have the big national argument, we can think this is a way to address the immediate, direct, interpersonal problem that we might be able to help with here.
Is there a sequencing that needs to be at play here? In other words, you need to rehabilitate one institution in order to rehabilitate the others. For example, family or faith as a predicate to some of these other institutions?
Yeah, I mean, I'll tell you, that's exactly where I was going to start, because I think there is no alternative to a recommitment to family and religion and local community. Certainly that's where things start, because those really are interpersonal. We see each other face to face. It's much harder in those situations to believe that we're just talking to sort of abstract, left or right people that we can define away. And so it is in those communities that are local and interpersonal that we might begin to address the kinds of problems we have and build up. But at the same time, our larger institutions also consist of people who do work with each other face to face, who do interact. If members of Congress thought of each other as colleagues working together more than thinking of each other as people on a stage performing for an outside audience that's far away and watching them on YouTube or on Twitter, those institutions would work better too. But I think there's no alternative to understanding our country's strength as working from the bottom up, from strong families and communities first.
It seems that we have a fundamental philosophical problem in that both political parties sort of operate in different ways, but operate on the premise that we're here to maximize liberty. This is all freedom, and it's freedom from everything. It's sort of treating liberty as a synonym with libertine. You see this in bipartisan support for things like marijuana legalization. And so, if you're to be if you're to be the atomized individual who's unrestrained from everything, then how can you then be persuaded to be part of these platoons of democracy that these organizing institutions?
Yeah. I think you're exactly right, and it's part of why in this book I try to use this term institutions and the concept of the institution to think about the kinds of problems we have, because ultimately our institutions are formative. From family on up, they form us in order to be able to be free. The idea that we can just be liberated and then everything will be fine is a mistake, I think, about human nature. It's a very deep mistake. Ultimately, we need first to be formed so that we can be free responsibly. And that's what we need to expect of our institutions, which means our politics, and not only our politics, needs to be about much more than just liberty. It needs to be about forming human beings in a way that can make us responsible and capable of liberty. And it also needs to be about unity and solidarity, about ways of drawing us together to address problems we have in common. Our politics can do that. It's capable of it. But as you say, the language we have for our political life now so often is so thin and shallow that it is just about a kind of leave me alone idea of liberty that just isn't up to the challenge. It's not enough. It's not what liberty even really means. And a recovery of that, I think, has to begin with a recovery of institutional responsibility.
And does that recovery come from perhaps some that had previously enjoyed expert status, some who had fancied themselves part of some vanguard class, exercising a bit of humility to say, you know what, we were wrong. We understand why this institution lost some legitimacy in at least a portion of the public's mind, and we want to involve so as to reform and reintroduce, whether that's schools or churches or anything else.
That's right. I think that people have to see that their institutional roles are fundamentally modes of responsibility, so that rather than just empowering them to have their way or whatever they want because they're the experts, it actually imposes obligations on them, and it imposes certain ways of making decisions and reaching judgments, whether that's through the professions, which are essential institutions in our society, whether it's through modes of giving people the confidence of a larger public in their expertise. The reason we trust experts is because we believe that they are subject to rules and obligations and ultimately a set of responsibilities. If they behave as though that's not true, they shouldn't be surprised that their expertise loses its force and power. So that has to begin by a recovery of that sense of responsibility, first and foremost.
I was struck last week, and we talked about it on our show, by corresponding with the timing of Jim Lehrer's passing at the age of 85, the venerable newsman. And circulating online was Jim Lehrer's rules for journalism, the rules that he memorialized that informed how he practiced his profession. And it was there were some that were just that were really journalistic focused, like about using anonymous sources, and then there were others that were just a respect for your audience as well as your subject. You know, treat the subject of your piece the way you would want to be treated if you were the subject of this piece. Just simple things like that. It seems like a lot of these institutions you're talking about generally could use that sort of rebranding exercise, establishing what the first principles of these institutions are and publishing them and saying to everybody, we're going to hold ourselves to these principles, that's what we want our brand to be, and we're going to work towards living these principles so people understand it to be our brand?
I think it's absolutely right. The journalism is a great example. Journalism is a profession. It's a profession that, when it's respected because its members abide by certain rules. They subject themselves to a process of verification and confirmation. They only say what they know. They help the people who are listening to them understand the difference between what they know and what they don't. When journalists take themselves out of that process, take themselves out of the institutions that actually empower them with any authority, and just put themselves out as individuals on Twitter, expressing their opinion in an open kind of unformed conversation, they make it impossible for us to know when to trust them and why to trust them. And those kinds of rules that Jim Lehrer articulated and that a lot of traditional journalists try to live by, which you might say are implicit in their work when they're doing them well, those kinds of rules have gone by the wayside in a lot of journalistic institutions. And the public now has real trouble trusting journalists. In order to recover that, I do think that journalism and other professions are like this too, have to make explicit the rules they live by, the limits they have, the obligations that they impose on their members, and help the public see why they should be trusted. It's interesting. The one exception to the loss of confidence in institutions in America is the military. And I think the reason for that is not just that the military is very good at protecting the country, though it is, but because we truly believe that the military forms men and women to be responsible, that it helps people internalize a set of responsibilities and obligations that they then take very, very seriously in their lives. That's how an institution builds confidence and ultimately gains the public's trust.
He is Yuval Levin. He's the director of social, cultural, and constitutional studies at the American Enterprise Institute, the editor of National Affairs, former member of the White House domestic policy staff under George W. Bush, and his book, A Time to Build, From Family and Community to Congress and the Campus, How Recommitting to Our Institutions Can Revive the American Dream. Yuval, thanks so much for joining us, and good luck with the book. Appreciate it.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Take care.
Listen to podcasts of Dan and Amy from the AM 560 mobile app. Download it today at 560theanswer.com/mobile.
The Lou Dobbs Financial Report is brought to you by Signature Bank, helping local businesses succeed. Visit signaturebank.bank for your commercial banking needs.
I'm Lou Dobbs. The next round of trade talks with China could come soon. Drug makers racing to find a vaccine for the coronavirus. California may lose more federal funding, this time over abortion. Those stories next. Albert Einstein once said the only way to predict the future is to look at the past. History proves financial markets have patterns. What goes up must eventually come down. Lou Dobbs here, and the market is up, higher than it's ever been in history. But it may not stay that high without an eventual adjustment. And if it comes down, stocks could tumble quickly. Don't wait to protect your money until it's too late. Your entire retirement portfolio could be at risk in one day. My advice? Visit goldirakit.com and learn how Goldco feels you can protect and secure your retirement savings now. Get a free Gold IRA kit from Goldco by visiting goldirakit.com and fill out a simple form. The folks at Goldco will help you set up a self-directed IRA that puts you in control of your money. Just call 855-815-GOLD or go to goldirakit.com today. U.S. drug makers racing to develop vaccines to protect against the deadly new coronavirus that's spreading globally. The virus has already infected hundreds. Treasury Secretary Steve Mnuchin says phase 2 of the Trump administration's trade talks with China will begin soon. President Trump suggesting he plans to travel to Beijing to personally take part in the next phase of negotiations. Mnuchin says the U.S. and China are already on the same page on a number of issues. The Trump administration challenging California's law requiring insurance plans to cover abortions. The president directed the Health and Human Services Department to notify the state of California of a potential loss of federal funding if the provision isn't dropped. Please join me for Lou Dobbs tonight, 7 o'clock and 10 Eastern on the Fox Business Network. This is the Lou Dobbs Financial Report.
Well, if you've thought about taking advantage of the 2-for-1 offer on the MyPillow Giza cotton sheets, I suggest you do it today. It could be over any time now. And you've heard me talk endlessly about the great night's sleep I get with all the MyPillow products. I love the MyPillow, the mattress topper, the soft, comfy Giza cotton sheets. And I was in my Pillow heaven when I was watching Saturday Night Live, and they did a skit and ripped on Mike Lindell.
Shout out to our other sponsors too, like vaping. You're never too young to start vaping. And of course, My Pillow, not the pillow, the guy.
Well, I love the guy in that he's committed to sobriety, and that happened in 2009, and shame on Saturday Night Live. But anyway, you can live a comfortable life when you sleep by ordering a MyPillow and the 2-for-1 on those Giza cotton sheets by simply going to MyPillow.com, type Amy, A-M-Y, in the promo code, free shipping on your entire order, plus huge, deep discounts on all MyPillow products. That's MyPillow.com, promo code Amy, or call 800-489-0201. That's 800-489-0201. MyPillow.com, promo code Amy.
Balance of Nature, changing the world one life at a time.
I haven't heard any negative feedback from any of my patients who've been taking the product. I look at Balance of Nature and I look what it's doing for me as I've started taking it, and for the patients that I have that are taking it, it's been phenomenal.
In my practice, I was getting to the point where I couldn't have the strength to see that many patients anymore, and I was introduced to the fruits and veggies. Just slowly, my strength started to come back, and it was because of the good nutrition. I can't say enough good for Balance of Nature and what it's done for me. I recommend it to everybody.
Don't wait to see what getting over 10 servings of whole fruits and vegetables can do for you. Right now, Balance of Nature is offering free shipping and 35% off on any new preferred order of fruits and veggies. Start your journey to better health today by calling 1-800-2468-751 or by going to balanceofnature.com and use discount code CHICAGO.
Message and data rates may apply. Please don't text while driving.
If you've been in business more than 20 minutes, you've probably printed your logo on all kinds of promotional products. We all know logos work because they're on everything from the top of skyscrapers to the bottom of shoes. Ever wondered why? Or how to best use your logo to grow your business? Let us show you today for free. We're 4imprint, promotional product experts at your service. We're giving away the latest issue of Amplify, the digital magazine that reveals promotional product success stories absolutely free to everyone who texts BOOST to 88988. At 4imprint, we make your logo look perfect on thousands of promotional items. With our 100% guarantee, it'll be right the first time, on time, every time. Your free e-magazine will reveal invaluable insights that can attract new customers, build your brand, and grow your business. Get the latest issue of Amplify absolutely free by texting BOOST to 88988. That's BOOST to 88988.
You might wonder why Australians always seem so relaxed. Well, it comes down to sleep. And we can sleep like a koala full of gum leaves. So we've invented a solution to your sleep problems. It's called Pronto Sleep. Pronto Sleep is a 2-in-1 solution that helps you fall asleep and stay asleep. Pronto gently opens your nose to focus breathing so you can relax and fall into the land of Nod. And the built-in scent diffuser delivers a blend of 4 pure essential oils all night long for a beaut sleep naturally. Then Pronto replenishes the oils ready for the next night. Clever, eh? And does it work? Well, in trials, 84% of people with trouble sleeping found Pronto helped them fall asleep. 74% found it helped them stay asleep. You'll find Pronto now at select Walgreens, Amazon, or at prontosleep.com. Pronto Sleep is the gift of sleep from Australia.
From Rhinomed, bringing you advanced nasal therapies.
AM 560, The Answer.
Dan and Amy, I know Amy has you putting tinfoil on your head to protect against the coronavirus, but I've got another public health matter to discuss.
Yeah, we were supposed to discuss this on Friday. We never got to it.
Well, I just want to apprise people. This is serious. I don't know if it could turn into a pandemic. I'm not a medical professional, but doctors are warning young men to refrain from using banana peels to masturbate. Okay. Dr. Diana Gill, prescription service doctor for you, cautions against the practice. You could develop a rash and sores on the penis, which can be painful and might lead to infection.
I didn't know that this was a thing, Dan, and I don't want to know that this is a thing.
A person with a banana allergy is more likely to be allergic to other substances such as latex and other fruits and vegetables. So if you're allergic to latex condoms, you may also be allergic to banana skins. Now, subscribers to Jackin World, the self-proclaimed ultimate male masturbation resource, have give the Banana Man a 4.5 out of 5 stars, and that's more than 360 people voting. So you understand the popularity here. So why this is important to understand the downsides. Commentators on the Jack and World site saying, I've used the banana skin technique occasionally for many years.
Okay, this is gross.
I'm now 78 years old.
Oh, my God.
Another acolyte saying the bigger the banana, the better. Now, banana peels are not the first unconventional item employed by pleasure seekers for ladies. Gynecologists warned women not to masturbate with electric toothbrushes as well earlier this year because it could cause trauma to the delicate vulval area.
I'm not feeling well.
So I just, just apprising you of other medical news and comments from medical professionals in that space in particular.
Okay. Thank you, Dan. Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
We'll probably switch gears, not talk too much about banana peels with Lieutenant Colonel Jim Carafano, maybe geopolitical matters, and the Bolton blockbuster at 7:07.
And later, the Chicago Bears were not sold to a Saudi Arabian prince. How that happened on Twitter. But first, let's head back into the newsroom. Here is Mike Scott.
Dan and Amy, there are reports of a passenger plane crashing in Afghanistan. We'll keep our eyes on that developing story for you. While a trio has stolen ATM this morning from a West Loop business, and the Harvey police chief has been placed on leave only after 8 months on the job. Bulls host the Spurs later on tonight. WIND Chicago News Time is 7 o'clock.
A denial in a tweet. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. President Trump reacting after midnight to a New York Times report. He wrote he never told John Bolton aid to Ukraine was tied to investigations into Democrats, adding if John Bolton said this, it was only to sell a book. Then in more tweets, he again claimed he put no pressure on Ukraine and military aid was released without conditions. Fox's Rachel Sutherland live in Washington.
Dave, former National Security Advisor John Bolton claims in his upcoming book that he has firsthand knowledge of a quid pro quo, alleging that President Trump told him he wanted to free security assistance into Ukraine, help with investigations into Democrats, including the Bidens. White House Press Secretary Stephanie Grisham told Fox and Friends Bolton's claims are not true, and she questions the timing.
Suddenly, this manuscript has magically appeared in the hands of the New York Times, making very, very big claims.
House managers are renewing their call for witnesses, writing in a joint statement the Senate trial must seek the full truth, and Mr. Bolton has vital information to provide. Dave?
Rachel, a rocket attack in Iraq hit the U.S. Embassy in Baghdad. One person was injured. A massive fire broke out at a boat dock in Scottsboro, Alabama early this morning. At least 35 boats burned. The fire chief says there are multiple fatalities. Earlier, we were told 7 people were missing, 7 others injured. Weather is being investigated as a factor in the helicopter crash in California that killed former NBA star Kobe Bryant, his 13-year-old daughter Gianna, and 7 others. There are tributes across the sports world, even at the Grammys last night on CBS.
The good times.
Alicia Keys sang that in honor of Bryant at the arena in Los Angeles, where he led the Lakers to 5 NBA championships. As for the Grammy Awards, Billie Eilish won 5, including all the big ones. Best New Artist, Album of the Year, and Song and Record of the Year for Bad Guy.
Wow. Oh, my God. So many other songs deserve this. I'm sorry. Thank you so much.
Eilish's brother Phineas also won for Producer of the Year. America's listening to Fox News.
Some freezing drizzle reported, 28 degrees in Chicago, 7:02 on AM 560. The Answer. Good morning. I'm Mike Scott. That 5th case of coronavirus being confirmed in Arizona joins cases in California, 1 here in Illinois and 1 in Washington. The Chicago woman who contracted the coronavirus while in Wuhan, China, remains in stable condition this morning. More details are coming out about that helicopter from former NBA player Kobe Bryant was in while it was flying and then crashed, killing everyone on board. The helicopter information website Healy says the Sikorsky S-76B was previously owned by the state of Illinois from 2007 until 2015, when it was put up for auction by then-Governor Bruce Rauner. Chicago police are searching for 3 suspects who stole an ATM from a business in the West Loop. The trio entered the vestibule of the business on West Jackson Boulevard, took the ATM inside early this morning in spite of workers being on hand. Former Chicago police lieutenant and state lawmaker named to head the Harvey Police Department has been placed on leave after just 8 months on the job. Eddie Winters was placed on leave last week. Harvey Mayor Christopher Clark declined to comment on his reasoning until he can discuss the full matter with the city council. Investigators are still trying to determine what led to a shooting that killed a retired Illinois State Trooper and wounded 2 others outside at a cigar lounge in Lisle. State Police Director Brendan Kelly.
This is certainly a painful moment for everyone in the Illinois State Police family, and that's why it's important that we have the love and support of the public and all of us that are surrounding these individuals and helping them deal with this violence.
Authorities say Lisa McMullen shot the troopers Friday night at the Humidor Cigar Lounge before turning the gun on herself. Bulls host the Spurs later on tonight. College hoops. Last night, Northwestern knocked off by Ohio State. Loyola fell to Northern Iowa in overtime. The news service of Staples with ink and toner in stock and at low prices this week. Get 25% back in rewards when you spend $75 on ink or $200 on toner. Staples, there's a whole lot more in store. Offer ends 2/1/20. See store or staples.com/25 in rewards for details. 7:04. A check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Steve Cortez.
One of my favorite books as a junior high student, The Outsiders. Well, when it comes to politics, we in the America First Movement, we're the greasers. We're the outsiders. I'm okay with being an outsider. You probably are as well. Being a conservative in Chicago. I'm unafraid of being a Trump advocate on CNN. And I'm unafraid about being a Christian trying to raise a faith-filled family in a world that's often hostile.
The Steve Cortez Show. Weeknights at 5, right before Larry Elder at 7 on AM 560. The Answer.
I'm Nick Soboleski, a Select Quote agent with a true story that could save you hundreds of dollars a year. A woman named Linda just called. Her husband, Ray, has a $300,000 group life insurance policy, but is changing jobs and can't take it with him. Well, I shopped the many highly rated term life insurance companies we represent and found Ray, who is 41 and takes medication to control his cholesterol, a 10-year, $500,000 policy for under $27 a month. That's almost twice the coverage for less than half of what he had paid. If SelectQuote hasn't shopped for your life insurance, you're probably paying too much.
For your free quote, call 800-597-0315. That's 800-597-0315. 800-597-0315. Or go to SelectQuote.com. Since 1985, we shop, you save.
Get full details on the example policy at SelectQuote.com/commercials. Your price could vary depending on your health, issuing company, and other factors. Not available in all states.
You know I love AMAC. I love what they stand for, smaller government. I love the value they pass on to their members. A fantastic endorsed partner of AMAC are my good friends at Pure Talk USA. Just like how AMAC wants to take the pork barrel out of government, Pure Talk wants to trim the fat off your wireless bill. Here's the deal. If you're an AMAC member or a new customer, you're eligible for wireless plans for as little as $10 a month. $10 a month, and Pure Talk will add 3 years to your AMAC membership for free. Stop overpaying for wireless. Make the switch to Pure Talk USA. Their network covers 99% of Americans. Their customer service is based in the U.S., and they're veteran-run. You can even keep your phone and your number. Get talk, text, and data for as little as $10 a month when you dial pound 250 and say the keyword Mike Gallagher. That's all. Dial pound 250 and say Mike Gallagher. They make it so easy to switch. Pound 250, promo code Mike Gallagher, Pure Talk USA. Simply smarter wireless.
Upwork has the largest network of independent professionals, like developers, designers, data scientists, you name it. And they're proven, rated, and reviewed. So when you need in-demand talent, on demand, Upwork is how.
7:07, Team Hochberg Traffic Center time and Jim Talamonte.
Metro is reporting that Milwaukee North Line train 2192 scheduled to leave Lake Forest at 7:48 will not operate due to an earlier mechanical failure. Now, the northbound tri-state traffic congested around the Hinsdale Oasis and it's stop and go farther north from the Reagan Tollway to North Avenue. Inbound Eden's delays start at Pratt, 20 minutes Lake Hook to Montrose. Inbound Kennedy, looking at about 30 minutes O'Hare to downtown. Outbound 38 with the delays beginning around Armitage. Inbound Eisenhower, 42 minutes, 390 to downtown. Outbound 34. Inbound Stevenson, 50 minutes, 355 to Lakeshore Drive. Bryant, 21 minutes from 95th. I-57, 20 minutes, I-80 to the merge, Bishop 418. That's traffic. I'm Jim Talamonte on AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next in our 1-hour heating and air conditioning weather center. Steve Williams.
Today and tonight, cloudy skies. High today at 36, a low tonight at 29. Clouds and flurries for tomorrow, high 35. Wednesday and Thursday, cloudy. The high Wednesday 34, Thursday's high 35. I'm Steve Williams on AM 560, The Answer.
Currently, we have 29 degrees. Next news at 7:30. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by HealthQuest Radio with Dr. David Kobaba. Every Saturday morning at 11, right here on AM 560, The Answer.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. More impeachment duds being reported as bombshells over the weekend by the D.C. press corps. Let's start with Lev Parnas. This is the Giuliani confidant who's under federal indictment for campaign finance-related charges, recording a dinner meeting he was a part of back in April of 18 at the White House that included Trump, at which time Trump said this about Ambassador Marie Yovanovitch, who you'll recall testified during the House impeachment hearings. This is Trump per the back and forth on Yovanovitch.
If you take a look, the biggest problem there, I think, where you need to start is we got to get rid of the ambassador. She's still left over from the Clinton administration.
Where the ambassador were Ukraine?
Yeah, and she's basically walking around telling everybody, wait, he's going to get impeached, just wait. I mean,
Really?
it's incredible. It's
She'll be gone tomorrow.
What's
her name?
I don't remember the name.
So one of the things that will be, now that we have a Secretary of State that's been sworn in.
Get rid of her.
Hooray. One of the first things
Get her out
that
tomorrow.
will,
I don't care. Get her out tomorrow.
Oh, get rid of her. Get her out tomorrow. Oh, my God.
Oh, that's so sexist and mean. No, that's what happens. He's president. He decides who the ambassadors are. Real simple.
He can fire and nominate just like any POTUS can. By the way, Yovanovitch, during her testimony, just to recall this, since I know the House Democrat managers like to cherry pick these the portions of testimony from the House side. This is Chris Stewart, Republican from Utah, questioning Yovanovitch during her testimony.
As you see it here before us, very simply and directly, do you have any information regarding the President of the United States accepting any bribes?
No.
Do you have any information regarding any criminal activity that the President of the United States has been involved with at all?
No.
Thank you. Thank you for answering that directly.
That's a star witness, and also this on the president's rights with respect to ambassadors.
Any president has the ability to ask his ambassadors to serve at will. I'm curious, do you think that's the right policy?
Yeah, I probably think it is.
Yeah. So that's a real bombshell that Parnas presented, isn't it? This is ridiculous. In addition to that, you have the issue of withholding, putting a temporary hold on foreign aid. Is that something that you can do? Can you require specific performance in the America's interest with respect to foreign aid? Because that's what the whole Bolton bombshell is about, this book excerpt. Oh, he wanted to tie foreign aid to an investigation into Biden Inc. and Burisma. Let's assume that is true for the sake of argument. Let's assume that that's true. Jay Sekulow, during the defense presentation on Saturday, blew that out of the water, didn't he? When he went through the other instances in which foreign aid has been put on hold by this president.
Manager Crow said this: "What's most interesting to me about this is that President Trump was only interested in Ukraine aid." His words, nobody else. The U.S. provides aids to dozens of countries around the world, lots of partners and allies. He didn't ask about any of them, just Ukraine. That is what Manager Crow said. Here's what actually happened. President Trump has placed holds on aid a number of times. It would just take basic due diligence to figure this out. In September 2019, the administration announced that it was withholding over $100 million in aid to Afghanistan over concerns about government corruption. In August 2019, President Trump announced that the administration and Seoul were in talks to substantially increase South Korea's share, burden sharing, of the expenses of U.S. military aid support for South Korea. In June, President Trump cut or paused over $550 million in foreign aid to El Salvador, Honduras, and Guatemala because those countries were not fairly sharing the burdens of preventing mass migration to the United States. In June, the administration temporarily paused $105 million in aid to Lebanon. The administration lifted that hold in December, with one official explaining that the administration continually reviews and thoroughly evaluates the effectiveness of all United States foreign assistance to ensure that funds go towards activities that further U.S. foreign policy and also further our national security interest, like any administration would. In September 2018, the administration canceled the $300 million in military aid to Pakistan because it was not meeting its counterterrorism obligations.
So, with all due respect, Representative Jason Crow, Ukraine is not the only issue. And burden sharing was specifically mentioned in the call with Zelensky and Trump, with both gentlemen agreeing on the need for more burden sharing with respect to Ukrainian military aid, meaning Europe needed to step up. And this is also a pattern that we see repeat itself through other examples of U.S. foreign aid. So, I'm sorry, what's the bombshell you have with Bolton exactly? For more on this, we're pleased to be joined by Lieutenant Colonel Jim Carafano, Vice President of the Catherine and Shelby Cullum Davis Institute for International Studies at the Heritage Foundation and author of books including Wiki at War and Private Sector Public Wars. Jim, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Hey, good to be with you.
I know you don't do politics, you do policy. This is policy. So do you see a bombshell here with respect to the termination and nomination of ambassadors, or with respect to putting holds on foreign aid for reasons as Jay Sekulow outlined?
No, of course not. I think everybody's moved off that now. They're now on what may or may not be in Bolton's book, but one is we don't actually know what's in the book. And matter of fact, there is even now disputes between officials speaking for Bolton and the articles in the New York Times. And the other thing is, again, I think it gets to the question of relevance. I mean, the claim against the president is that for a political purpose, to get dirt on his political enemies, he withheld aid. Not even Bolton, in his comments, has, and no official has ever stated that they have evidence or they can attest that occurred. That's never happened.
But don't you think this new excerpt from his book would convince 4 Republican senators to now want to have witnesses?
Well, I mean, I think you do kind of get back to the kind of nuclear moment, because the Republicans would also insist on a number of other witnesses, which Democrats don't want to bring into it. So that kind of opens a Pandora's box. I'm not even sure that this would happen. Look, I know John Bolton. He's been a good friend for many years. I believe if he had information that was material to the case at hand, that he would have gone to the House and insisted on testifying, and he never did that.
Yeah, I mean, look, we had John Bolton on this show many times before he was elevated to National Security Advisor, and I like him too. He was always a great guest. I'm not here to dump on John Bolton, regardless of the curious timing of this book excerpt release, but and he's more interventionist than I am, but those are just disagreements. So he's not a rhino for doing this, and all these hysterics from Never Trumpers we've heard from. Oh, now you're going to go after John Bolton because he's not flying information. No, not at all, not at all. But as I said at the outset, take what is being reported about this book excerpt at face value. You still have nothing. You have nothing with respect to the standard of removing a president from office.
Well, and I think that goes back. If you listen to what John has said in the past, he said, "I'd be happy to testify." He's never said the words, "I have information that is material to the outcome of this case." He's never said those words.
Yeah, that's a good point.
And I think that's a big difference. He may say, "I have stuff that makes the president look bad. I don't like the president. I mean, I like some of his policies on this stuff," but he's never said that I have information of criminal conduct, and I would be happy to put that in public if people ask me. Never said that.
Well, in recent days, some White House officials have described Bolton as a disgruntled former employee, and they said that he took notes that he should have left behind when he departed the administration. Do you buy that? That he secretly confiscated?
Well, I mean, of course he's disgruntled. That's a big secret. I mean, he left over major policy disputes with the president. But again, he left over major policy disputes with the president. He didn't say, "I am leaving office because the president has committed criminal acts and therefore I feel I can no longer serve him." He said, "I left because I disagree with how the president's running foreign policy."
Yeah. Something else, Mark Penn, former Clintonista, writing in The Hill last week, thought this was really interesting, talking about how impeachment impacts policies in ways you can't always predict, deleterious ways when you have an impeachment gambit that he argued was illegitimate going after Clinton 20 years ago, going after Trump today. He's opposed to both. And he talked about, because he was in the Clinton White House at the time, he gets a phone call from President Clinton, and the conversation is about whether to authorize a strike based on intelligence against someone named Osama bin Laden, 1998. And the conversation, in part, between Clinton and Penn, as he recounts it, was, if I do this, people are going to think it's just political to try and change the narrative away from impeachment, because he was going through his impeachment proceeding at the time. And ultimately, the decision was made to take the shot, and they did take the shot, and unfortunately they missed. Otherwise, perhaps 9/11 doesn't happen. But the bottom line is thinking about that calculus, and then this was applied to Trump with respect to the strike against Soleimani too. It's like, this is wag the dog, and Clinton was worried it was going to be wag the dog back in '98. And so you want that conversation to be directing national or impacting national security policy with respect to the president of the United States. So you want to think, maybe I should hesitate here because it could be perceived this way, even though this is the right thing to do in terms of America's security interests.
Well, first of all, presidents, I think, are faced with that every day, that, well, you're just doing this for politics. So I'm not sure there's anything new there. And then I think you have to put it in context of the president. I personally found Bill Clinton a very indecisive president on foreign policy matters, and very much prone to second-guessing himself. I don't think that's Trump at all. I think Trump is more decisive. And I also think Trump's in a stronger place. I think Clinton was politically weakened by impeachment. I don't think Trump is weakened by impeachment. If anything, I think his hand is strengthened. Again, it's not partisan, it's not political. Just look at the polling numbers. His polling numbers are strong or solid, or if anything, improving. So there's nothing that leads me to believe that this administration is really significantly hamstrung in terms of how it deals with the world because of the threat of impeachment. Distracted, it's there. I mean, it does, suck time out of the room because you have to deal with this stuff. But I think that's different from essentially being risk averse because you're under a microscope.
I wanted to switch gears and get your take on the coronavirus matter, and particularly this piece in the Washington Times on Friday that that sort of ties the possibility of the coronavirus was spread via the Wuhan Institute of Virology, which is a virus research laboratory in the town in which this virus apparently originated. And the question that's being raised is, was this something that escaped as part of some germ warfare program that the Chinese have underway?
Well, I'd say on the surface that's unlikely for a couple of reasons. First of all, if it's a warfare germ. It's not a very effective one in terms of sickening and killing people. So it's not like you're unleashing a really a killing pathogen there. The second is there are lots of alternative explanations of how the virus erupted that just are plausible. So it's an interesting conspiracy theory, but as far as I know, it's a theory without any facts. I mean, you can connect all the dots you want if you just pick which dots you want to connect. So, like many, this disease will be highly studied. There may be some evidence that people will come up with if there was some kind of gene manipulation or something like that. But we'll have to wait for facts. So far, I'd say it's just kind of somebody's kind of theory.
Okay. Do you think although that our American hospitals are ready for something like this?
This isn't really. I'm going to be overly sanguine about this, but right now, this isn't presenting something as this is going to be a real global health challenge. It's a serious health challenge for China, and it would be great to kind of keep it out of other countries. But here's why right now it's not really terrifying. One is the rate of lethality that we know is not really all that high for the number of people infected. People die from viruses all the time, so that's one. Maybe unless the Chinese aren't reporting correctly or we haven't seen anything. The other thing is in order to get sick, apparently you have to be in close proximity to somebody who's not just shedding virus, but is really ill. So it's not you're going to walk by and touch a kitchen counter and you get this thing. So it doesn't transmit very easily. So it is much more containable with something called social distancing, right? People are obviously affected. So it does appear, what we don't know is if people are getting people sick when they're not exhibiting it, they're not coughing and spitting and everything else. That would be more troubling. But right now, it's just not exhibiting the kind of characteristics of something that's going to be a real serious global health pandemic.
Well, that's good news, Jim, because right now Amy is doing the show in one of those spacesuits from E.T. So
well, I did order, and I've been gotten a lot of text messages about the masks that I ordered, and I ordered the N95.
Yeah, I'm not. I think the masks are kind of a joke, but I don't think there's a lot of very strong. Again,
I'd rather
unlikely.
be safe than sorry.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
No, but unlikely
Fully
to make
wrapped.
a difference in kind of casual contact. Look, my advice always is if you see somebody on the subway and they're sitting there and their eyes are red and they're sniffling and coughing and snorting, I would not sit next to them. But that's just me.
Yeah, that's sound advice. Yes, Lieutenant Colonel Jim Carafano's healthy living advice. We appreciate that. Vice President of the Catherine Shelby Cullum Davis Institute for International Studies at the Heritage Foundation. Jim, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
The more you listen, the more you'll know. This is Chicago's Morning Answer. Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
When it's cold outside, you can dress for it. But when your furnace gives out, hey, a blanket fort can only do so much. So call your local 1 Hour Heating and Air Conditioning. We'll replace your old furnace with a new high-efficiency one. And that beats a bunch of blankets any day. Right now, cozy up to big savings on a complete heating system. Call 855-1-HOUR.
Your comfort is just a call away. Call 1 Hour.
Terms and conditions may apply. Call for details. Independently owned and operated. Licensed in the respective state or county.
The American economy remains strong. Both business owners and employees are enjoying the benefits. Here at AM 560, we want to celebrate the businesses that are thriving. Are you business owners part of this great American success story? If so, we want to hear from you. Once again, we're taking our show on the road. We'll be broadcasting from Chicagoland businesses enjoying success as they serve their customers and clients through the hard work of their employees. We want to hear your story, share your success, and find out what makes your business run. It's the Signature Bank Business Tour. To submit your business for consideration, just go to bankbusinesstour.com. That's bankbusinesstour.com. and we may be broadcasting from your business in the near future.
American workers left millions of unused vacation days on the table in 2018, up 9% from the previous year. Roger Dow, president and CEO of the U.S. Travel Association, encourages all Americans to plan their travel in advance for the upcoming year.
American workers who fail to plan give up not only their hard-earned time off, but the numerous personal and professional benefits achieved through taking a vacation. Of the 768 million vacation days unused by Americans, 236 million were forfeited completely, totaling more than $65 billion in lost benefits.
January 28th is the annual National Plan for Vacation Day to help Americans take advantage of the benefits of time off and avoid the growing vacation deprivation problem. U.S. Travel has developed an interactive vacation planning tool.
By entering the number of days off earned, users can plot out their trips for the year, export them to their work or personal calendars, and share them with their family and coworkers.
For more information, please visit ustravel.org. Again, that's ustravel.org.
With this deadly virus, it's important to boost your immune system. That's what I started doing again after taking a break from Balance of Nature. I'm committed completely, and I'm double dosing right now too, because you need a strong immune system to ward off the flu and the common cold. And the best way to boost your immune system is by eating well, and that means getting enough fruits and veggies, which you have to admit you aren't doing on your own. And that's where Balance of Nature comes in. Just 6 capsules of Balance of Nature, you're getting 10 servings of 31 fruits and veggies. You hear stories right here on the station about how people's lives have changed. And start taking charge of your health. Make 2020 a healthy year. Boost your immune system. Order Balance of Nature today. Why? Free shipping. That's good. But also 35% off your first preferred order of Balance of Nature. So start your journey to better health today by calling 800-246-8751. That's 800-246-8751. Use discount code Chicago or go to balanceofnature.com. Discount code Chicago.
It starts with the action on the court, moves to the crowd, and is described by the broadcasters and transmitted to you. The energy, passion, and excitement will make you shout out loud. Let them hear you. It starts right here on the Husky Sports Network.
This Tuesday night at 7, your NIU Huskies take on the Ohio Bobcats. NIU basketball right here on AM 560. The Answer. AM 560. The Answer.
Reading about the coronavirus, you can get it from surfaces. They say there's direct and indirect contact. When an infected person sneezes, spread the coronavirus droplets on nearby surfaces, including doorknobs, bed rails, smartphones.
I keep trying to foment the hysteria. It's not going to work, but you keep trying. You keep at it. Yeah.
Coming
you keep
up,
justifying the saran wrap that you're enclosed in.
Oh, just wait. And my stuff should come tomorrow, my masks. Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
We'll talk to David Simon, fellow at the Washington-based Committee to Unleash Prosperity, about Paul Krugman and, speaking of hysteria, his global warming hysteria at 7:37.
But now let's head straight into that newsroom. Here is Mike Scott.
28 degrees at 7:31. All passengers on board an airplane flying over central Afghanistan likely dead. Plane crashed in territory under control of the Taliban, so details are murky about that crash. Multiple people are dead following a fire at an Alabama boat dock. Officials say the fire destroyed 35 boats docked at a county park in Scottsboro along the Tennessee River. L.A. County officials are confirming 9 are dead in the helicopter crash that killed NBA player Kobe Bryant. Sheriff Alex Villanueva.
We have a manifest that indicates that there was 9 people on board the aircraft. The pilot plus 8 individuals. There is wide speculation as to who the identities are. However, it is entirely inappropriate right now to identify anyone by name.
Villanueva said it would be a terrible thing for someone to learn their loved one died on TMZ. Stock futures are pointing to big losses when the markets open this morning. Spread of the coronavirus in China and confirmation of a 5th case in the U.S. rattling investors. Dow and S&P futures are both off nearly 1.5%. The State Department is evacuating staff as well, as some citizens from the Chinese city of Wuhan, where the coronavirus started, continue to be hospitalized. Those evacuated will be flown back to the U.S. through San Francisco International Airport. Former Chicago police lieutenant and state lawmaker named to lead the Harvey Police Department has been placed on leave after just 8 months on the job. Andy Winters was placed on leave last week. 2-year-old boy is dead following a fire last week on Chicago's south side. Cook County Medical Examiner says Jacurion Lewis was critically hurt in Wednesday's blaze. He died over the weekend at Comer Children's Hospital. Bulls host the Spurs later on tonight. College hoops yesterday. Northwestern knocked off by Ohio State on the men's side. Loyola fell to Northern Iowa. For the women, DePaul, number 11 in the country, rolled over Georgetown. The news service of Staples with ink and toner in stock and at low prices. This week, get 25% back in rewards when you spend $75 on ink or $200 on toner. Staples, there's a whole lot more in store. Offer ends 2/1/20. See store or staples.com/25 in rewards for details. A check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
There's no better way to celebrate the great state of our union than to sit down to a finely prepared meal, pour yourself a nice bubbly beverage, and get together with all your rowdy friends. Yeah, that's just what we're doing on Tuesday, February 4th. Join us for our State of the Union viewing party, presented by healthinsurancemembers.com. Tickets are on sale now at 560theanswer.com/taste. Sponsored in part by C'est La Vie, age-defying skincare.
Hi, this is Amy Jacobson to talk about my incredible experience with Online Trading Academy. I signed up for my own free class, and you can too. You'll be introduced to skills to take control of your financial future. You'll learn the right moves to make when the economy turns and how to spend less time worrying about life and more time living it. You know, no one else will ever care about your financial future as much as you do. It's time for you to start learning how to invest in you. Seats are limited. Just call 844-778-7132 to attend and get 2 free passes to their next class so you can check this all out. And if you call right now, they will send you home with their Professionals Insider Kit. It's loaded with exclusive investing courses and some of their best lessons from the pros. This is a limited opportunity and seats go quickly, so call 844-778-7132. That's 844-778-7132, or visit them online at otaclass.com, otaclass.com.
This is Michael Medved for Town Hall. A new study of the aging process demolishes one of the chief leftist claims about health care, that government control can eliminate inequality. The research conducted by Harvard and University College London looked at more than 25,000 people over 50 in the U.S. and the U.K. In both countries, subjects with higher net worth enjoyed an identical advantage of 8 to 9 disability-free years compared to those with little or no personal wealth. The results shocked experts who expected that Britain's highly touted government-funded National Health Service would produce more equal outcomes than the United States. Data strongly suggests the real difference in health and longevity reflect common patterns in both countries, where the poor are far more likely to smoke, to consume unhealthy diets, to abuse drugs and alcohol, and shun regular exercise. In both America and Britain, health depends less on government programs than on lifestyle choices we can control. I'm Michael Medved.
Publicpolicy.pepperdine.edu. It's open enrollment season, and MediShare is a Christian healthcare sharing ministry that saves most families about $500 a month. Google MediShare and see if it is a fit for you.
7:36, Team Hochberg Traffic Center time. Jim Talamonte.
Traffic is getting heavier. Kennedy eastbound delays start at Cumberland. It's about 40 minutes now. O'Hare to downtown, outbound 39. Eden's tight Pratt to the junction. That's about a 3 or 4 minute delay. Inbound Eisenhower, the heavy stuff starts before Manheim. It's 45 minutes, 390 to downtown. Stevenson, 52 minutes, 355 to Lakeshore Drive. Bryant, 24 minutes, 95 to downtown. I-57, 21 minutes, I-80 to the merge, Bishop Ford 19. Southbound Lakeshore Drive, it's stop and go, Irving Park to Fullerton. Northbound Tri-State, it's congested from the Stevenson to the Hinsdale Oasis. Then slow from the Reagan Tollway to North Avenue. About Reagan Tollway, there's a delay around Eel, and then it's heavy 53 Highland, northbound Veterans Memorial, 75th to Ogden. That's traffic. I'm Jim Talamonte on AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the 1 Hour Heating and Air Conditioning Weather Center. We'll have clouds today, a high of 36, and a cloudy overnight, a low of 29. Currently 29. Next news at 8. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Papa Nicholas Coffee. Papa Nicholas Coffee, a family tradition since 1897.
If you're looking for the latest news, insight into what it means, and the sharpest opinion, there's only one station in Chicago where you can turn, and it's this one. We're AM 560. The Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. I thought this was an interesting remark on Fareed Zakaria's show over the weekend. The editor of The Economist magazine, Zanny Mitten-Beddoes, was asked, she was in Davos, as was Zakaria, and was asked, how much impeachment talk was there in Davos? All these world leaders getting together, listening to President Trump tout America's success under his presidency, economic success. Were people kibitzing about the impeachment of the president and what that may mean for America and its global leadership after 2020.
What is your sense of what they're making of this impeachment?
To be honest, I don't think they're paying a huge amount of attention to it. I think because, as you say, the outcome is all but foregone, they are moving beyond that. And I was struck not only how little attention was being paid to the impeachment trial, but quite how many people seemed to be taking almost as given that there might be a second term for President Trump. So the mood, I think, certainly amongst the business types in Davos was, get ready for a second term. And literally no one spoke to me about impeachment.
Oh, boy. That's not good news to the ears of the left in this country. I guess probably, though, that's easily explained away. They were mesmerized by Greta Thunberg and her pronouncements about end days. I mean, who cares, second term or no second term, when if we don't act, a generation ago, according to Greta, then it's all going to be for naught. For more on this topic, somebody who's written about it a bit, responding to a grown-up version of Greta, Paul Krugman, a Nobel Prize winner, but I'm sure Greta will be one soon enough. We're pleased to be joined by David Simon, who's a fellow at the Washington-based Committee to Unleash Prosperity and also a practicing lawyer in Chicago. David, thanks so much for joining us. Appreciate it.
Good morning.
Good morning. So you zeroed in on some of the pronouncements over the last couple of decades about end days, and you find that even if you've got a Nobel Prize in economics in your trophy case, it doesn't make your predictions past or present correct.
That's exactly right. For decades, for as long as people have been making predictions about the future of the world, they often make them based on pure speculation, not based on facts. Partly because facts aren't as exciting, and it's harder to get a bunch of people to follow you if you're not saying that the world's going to end. Please go do what I say. But the facts about global warming. Well, first, the predictions about global warming have been going on for decades. They've been saying that coastal cities will be underwater, and that all kinds of dramatic things will happen that, going forward, will prevent people from living longer, more prosperous, healthier lives around the world. And the facts simply don't back that up. It's like saying because it's snowing today, that there's an inch of snow today, that tomorrow there'll be 2 inches, and it'll keep growing, and 10 years from now it'll be 10 inches a day, and eventually it'll be, we'll be living under snow every day of our lives. It's just not true. If you look at the facts, for example, 17 times as many people around the world die from colder temperatures than from warmer temperatures. So as the climate gets warmer, if anything, more people are alive. That is in of itself a huge triumph and a benefit of global warming rather than a problem with global warming. I'm not saying we're not having some global warming, but the amount of global warming we've had. NASA has a very good data set for going back to about 1880. It's been about 1 degree centigrade, just a little over 1 degree centigrade in that whole time, almost 140 years. At that pace, we won't get the kind of warming that all these forecasts are based on. They're talking about another 3 degrees centigrade by 2100. That, based on the pace we've gone, that would take another several hundred years. Another great example is that over the last 100 years, the number of people around the world who die from climate-related catastrophes, hurricanes, tornadoes, things like that, it's down over 80% during a time that the world's population has almost quadrupled. So we've gone from about 2 billion people in around 1920 to about 7.5 billion people now, yet the number of people who are dying from these terrible catastrophes is way, 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 way down.
Well,
and that's at a time when the temperature's been rising.
Well, what assertions did Paul Krugman make?
Well, Krugman most recently made his assertion, I'll pull it up for you right now, that I believe Florida will be underwater fairly soon. Let's see what he says. Now, he's very vague because he doesn't want to get pinned down, I'm sure, but he says, let's see what he says. What does he say here? He says that on our current trajectory, Florida as a whole, that's the whole state, will eventually be swallowed by the sea, and much of India will eventually become uninhabitable. Now, I remind you that these are the same kinds of people who in the 60s and 70s were saying that that overpopulation would lead hundreds of millions of people to die of famine. Never happened. They said around the same time that we were going to run out of oil. Quite the opposite. The world's problems these days, as far as farmers are concerned, for example, is that we have too much food, and China recently, one of their big economic agencies just declared recently that one of the biggest problems is they have too few people because of their one-child policy for so long. They now have so many old people and far, far too few people, not enough people to work and to build and to invest and do all these other things.
Well, right, and even though I think it's NASA data that has us the global temperature increasing about 1 degree Fahrenheit over the last 30 years, it turns out that the average normal human body temperature is lower by 1 degree Fahrenheit these days, and so hey, it's a wash.
Exactly.
I mean, it's just all of this stuff, this divining from models that turn out not to be true, and then the response inevitably to you just sort of alluded to Paul Ehrlich's 1968 book, The Population Bomb, which was a dud. Now the argument is, and the same thing with Al Gore's apocalyptic predictions and everybody else's, well, their predictions are right, their timeline was wrong. So now it's starting to come true. And now we're on a 20 or 30 year or 12 year, according to AOC, horizon to either do something or perish from the universe. They're always sort of recasting when the apocalypse is going to come, but make no mistake, it's going to come.
That is always the line, and it's a line that is impossible to say is absolutely 100% impossible. But all we can do, the best source of information about what the future will be is always to look at what has happened in the past and for as long as possible, not to cherry pick from 1 year. For example, from 2017 to 2016, the temperature around the world went down again in 2018. It went up a bit again in 2019, not quite to where it was in 2016, but if you just look at 1 year, you can say, judging from this 1 year, if it goes up like this the next 100 years, it'll be much higher. But you have to look at the whole sweep of history, as much data as you can, to get a good sense of what is likely to happen. If you look at what the temperature just was like yesterday and guess that will be like that for the next 100 years, it's probably not a very good gauge. You want to look at as much data as you can, as many facts as you can. But you can always make predictions about that are scary, and if they're exciting and well put together, you will get people to believe it. But that doesn't make them true, and doesn't make them likely to turn out that way. Just the opposite.
You also point out something that the left doesn't like to point out, or the alarmists don't like to point out, which is that actually innovation in our industrial economies, in the West in particular, has led to a reduction in pollution. So we don't need to deindustrialize to reduce pollution. We can innovate to reduce pollution.
You're exactly right. A couple of key points on that. Since 1990, for example, the number of people dying from air pollution is down over 50% around the world. That's a huge triumph, and that's coming largely from, is exactly what you say, innovations in using better technology, for example, using more natural gas instead of coal, not because of some government rule saying we need to use natural gas instead of coal, but simply because natural gas is so plentiful. It's become so much, we found so much of it through fracking and new technologies. It's so much cheaper. You go with the least expensive thing, which in this case also has turned out to be much, much cleaner. And in fact, the United States, its emissions of greenhouse gases are basically flat or have been falling over the last 10, 15 years. The countries where they're going up are places like China and India, and they're going up largely because they are way behind technologically for how most of their people, how their power plants work, and how most of their people heat their homes and things like that.
He is David Simon. He's a fellow at the Washington-based Committee to Unleash Prosperity and a lawyer in Chicago. Check out his piece, which I'll tweet out. Paul Krugman is a global warming alarmist. Don't be like him, which the headline is the story. David, thanks so much for joining us. Appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
Thanks. And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
There's only one radio show in Chicago talking about today's biggest stories and telling you what they really mean. That show is this one, Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560, The Answer.
Balance of Nature, changing the world one life at a time.
I'm very, very athletic. I play ice hockey 2 or 3 days a week. I'm in good shape for my age. I keep up with the young kids, but, I get tired, muscles get sore, I'm achy. So I noticed just by taking this product for a month, I'm not as tired as I used to be or fatigued. Muscles feel good. I feel like my stamina is better than it was. I just feel better than I did, and I wasn't really complaining before.
Don't wait to see what getting over 10 servings of whole fruits and vegetables every day can do for you. Right now, Balance of Nature is offering free shipping and 35% off on any new preferred order of fruits and veggies. Start your journey to better health today by calling 1-800-2468-751 or by going to balanceofnature.com and make sure to receive this special radio offer by using discount code CHICAGO.
Networks of the future are finally here, and Turnkey IT is ready to set up your business. And guess what? Serverless networks help you save money, increase productivity, and minimize the headaches by not having to purchase or maintain a local server in your building. Unleash your business from having a server. You can continue to have all the tools you rely on with Microsoft 365, including Outlook, Excel, PowerPoint, and more. And with Turnkey IT, each user gets a terabyte of storage with all files and folders stored, backed up, and ready to be shared securely within your organization. Can your business go serverless? Turnkey IT is offering a free 5-point assessment to determine if your business qualifies, and that'll take just minutes. So visit turnkey.pro today. That's turnkey.pro. And hey, Turnkey IT is just like you, a locally owned business that understands the needs of other local businesses. They specialize in working with businesses that employ 5 to 200 employees. So leave the technical stuff to the pros so you can focus on what's important. Visit turnkey.pro today. That's turnkey.pro.
If you maintain an industrial plant, you know your dust collection systems are a vital part of the operation of your plant. Without them, things can get dusty quick. And when your dust collection system malfunctions, the downtime can cost your plant money. Time to call the professionals at Vans Industrial for help.
Hi, I'm Dave Van Camp, owner of Vans Industrial. At Vans, we work with many different types and sizes of dust collectors, from 1,000 CFM to 100,000 CFM. If your system needs housing repair, tube sheet, pulse valves, ductwork, or collection hoods, give us a call. Schedule an inspection today to keep things running smoothly and avoid costly downtime. And when you're ready for a new dust collector, we can design your system from the collection hoods to the stack for plants of all size applications.
Vans uses only the best and safest union-trained mechanics, insured at the highest level, to perform the job right. Call 833-VANS-IND. That's 833-VANS-IND. Or on the web at vansindustrial.com.
Hi, Saver. Looking for ways to save on your Medicare Part D copays? We love that at Walgreens. We're a preferred network pharmacy with many plans nationwide, which could mean lower copays for you. Bring your prescriptions to a Walgreens pharmacy and start saving today. Walgreens, trusted since 1901. Walgreens participates as a preferred network pharmacy with United Healthcare, Cigna, and Express Scripts Medicare. Walgreens participates with other plans. See walgreens.com/Medicare for details.
Liberty Mutual Insurance Company presents.
And Doug.
Limu, when we're not telling people that Liberty Mutual customizes your car insurance so you only pay for what you need, I've actually been moonlighting as a DJ. Check it! Here's the good part! Liberty, 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 liberty. Only pay for what you need at libertymutual.com.
America has a retirement crisis. 10,000 people turn 65 every day with alarmingly little savings. Company pensions are a thing of the past, and 401k plans are riddled with fees and expenses. We're living longer, so our retirement savings need to last longer. And these record low interest rates are virtually punishing savers, forcing many people to take on far too much risk in the stock market. So what can you do to help ensure you don't become another statistic of this crisis? The answers are in a free educational workshop with Tom Fortino, featured expert on Fox Business, Forbes, and the host of the Alpha Wealth Hour heard on AM 560. Learn about the 5 major threats to your retirement, creating lifetime income, and the Social Security decision, plus tax-free strategies to help make the IRS a smaller partner in your retirement and how to pass along more wealth to the people you love. Seats are available in multiple locations throughout Chicagoland. Visit alphawealthgroup.com and click on the Classes tab to reserve your free seats now. alphawealthgroup.com. Tell me if this is you. There's an outdoor project that you've been wanting to get done, but you just don't have the time or patience to deal with unprofessional contractors. It's a common theme of frustration. You need AM Woodland Outdoor Design for a professional design and a team that will show up on time to get the job done. They'll even let you know throughout the project how everything's going. Imagine that. When you're ready to liven up your curb appeal or completely redesign your outdoor living space, the perfect solution? AM Woodland Design. With so many landscape contractor options to choose from, use a team that shares your values of hard work, honesty, integrity, and patriotism. AM Woodland Outdoor Design proudly sponsors Food for the Poor as a business benefactor and would be honored to work with you.
AM Woodland Outdoor Design, proudly serving Lake, Northern Cook, and Kenosha counties, helping make the communities they grew up in as beautiful as they can be. Visit amwoodland.com, that's amwoodland.com, or call 847-224-2167.
AM 560, The Answer.
This is 60 Seconds of Sanity with Dan Proft. The timer starts now.
The Iowa caucus is next week, and perhaps the most pronounced problem Democrats have in 2020 is, to paraphrase you two, they can neither live with or without Bernie Sanders. They can't nominate him and win, but they need his supporters. Problem is, Bernie backers have good BS detectors when it comes to a Democrat establishment that rigged the 2016 primary against their guy. A compelling piece of polling data from a recent Emerson College survey finds a remarkable spread between Bernie supporters and those of the other Democrat POTUS frontrunners as to the question of, will you support whoever the Democrat nominee turns out to be? 90% of Warren voters and 87% of Biden voters say yes. By contrast, only 54% of Bernie voters answer in the affirmative. That's a significant disparity. In our current era of negative partisanship elections, meaning I dislike my party's nominee less than I dislike the other party's nominee, if you don't bring your base, you can't win. The Democrat Party establishment's desire to secure the Bernie bros, but discard Bernie is like trying to get the populist vote without the popular. They have a problem. Yeah, this is really interesting. 90 for Warren, 87 for Biden, 86 for Mannequin Pete, 54 for Sanders, 50 for Yang in terms of will you support the nominee regardless of who it is. They got to close the deal with these voters that Bernie and to a lesser extent Yang bring in that just don't have any affinity for the Democrat Party establishment. It's really interesting, this problem they have. And, for example, Hillary Clinton running around bad-mouthing Bernie supporters isn't helping any.
And now?
60 seconds. Total madness. This is 60 Seconds of Crazy with Amy J.
Yeah, you think I'm crazy that I'm buying N95 masks, stockpiling food in the basement. But you know what? What changed my mind is that we learned over the weekend that you can infect someone before having the symptoms yourself. And that's different than SARS and the Ebola and all the other viruses out there.
So, yeah, I don't trust our government. I don't like the fact that Chicago officials have not told us what aircraft and airline she arrived on when she came from Wuhan to Chicago, because she could have infected all those people that were on that flight as well. That's why I've been dubbed crazy by my family, but they'll think I'm crazy now. But when you know what hits the fan, I'll be prepared. Thank you. And that is 30 seconds of crazy.
I'm sorry, what does that have to do with the presidential election?
No, you did your 1 minute.
Oh, and
your
you
60
just
seconds.
keep repeating the same, like,
no, that's my 60
fact-free
seconds of crazy, because I'm
argument
actually.
you make about the coronavirus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not fact-free. There's a lot of unknowns.
Yeah.
That's the scary part.
Yeah. Yeah. No.
Because it can be, you can get it indirectly and directly. Your spit in the air flies through and it gets me.
Right.
Or then if you have, anything on the counter, on your phone that could infect me, that could happen too. So I'm going to get gloves.
Uh-huh.
Masks already ordered, goggles.
I'll tell you what, while you're at it, while you're doing all
bodysuits.
those things, why don't you go get a medical degree?
Yeah, okay.
So you can actually maybe have some basis for these pronouncements you make. I mean, please, honestly. I know apparently some people texted you about what kind of mask you're
masks
getting.
I ordered.
Please stop listening to unhinged lunacy. Okay? Please
it's just
stop
a bunch of
listening to
moms
it.
trying to protect their children.
Yeah.
That's-
Yes.
I'm getting text messages.
Unhinged. I mean, I don't know. I mean, do you normally self-diagnose your kids? Or
I always do. Self-diagnose myself too.
Oh,
And
of
I'm
course.
I'm pretty much spot on. I'm 90% correct.
who needs the medical profession when we get you?
It's intuition.
Anthony Fauci, director of National Institute for Allergy and Infectious Diseases. It's very, very low risk in the United States. Something we as public health officials need to take seriously. It isn't something the American public needs to worry about or be frightened about. Yeah, try maybe just dialing down the apocalyptic talk on the virus. It sounds very global warming-ish.
It's 8 a.m., folks. WIND, Chicago.
It directly contradicts the president's defense. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. That's what the 7 House Democrats acting as prosecutors of the impeachment trial are saying about the New York Times report that former National Security Advisor John Bolton writes in an upcoming book. The president told him personally he was initially freezing military aid to Ukraine in an effort to get investigations into the Democrats and Joe Biden. It has the impeachment managers renewing calls for Bolton and others to testify. Adam Schiff told NBC's Meet the Press.
The American people understand what a fair trial is. A fair trial requires witnesses.
Now, the Trump legal team will continue to present his defense of the trial today at the Senate. Fox's John Decker live at the White House.
White House Press Secretary Stephanie Grisham on Fox and Friends reacting to published reports that the former National Security Advisor was told by President Trump that the hold on nearly $400 million in military aid to Ukraine was tied to investigations of former Vice President Joe Biden.
You know, it's sad, but I think the timing is very suspect. And again, as the president said, that's just not true. The president did nothing wrong.
President Trump tweeted on Monday that he never told Bolton this, and if his former national security advisor said this, it was only to sell a book. Dave?
John, there are also 7 people at least either dead or missing in Scottsboro, Alabama, after a fire broke out early this morning at a dock on the Tennessee River, burning 35 boats, 7 other people injured. Was bad foggy weather a factor in the crash that killed former NBA star Kobe Bryant in California? The NTSB is investigating.
The Sikorsky helicopter, built in 1991, is operated by a reputable company and was flown by an experienced pilot, according to sources.
Fox's William Lajeunesse Bryant's daughter and 7 others were killed. The sports world is full of tributes to Bryant. Alicia Keys said this at the Grammys on CBS.
The whole wide world lost a hero.
As for the awards, Billie Eilish won big. Bad Guy got Song and Record of the Year, and Eilish also won Album of the Year and Best New Artist. America's listening to Fox News.
Skies are gray, 29 degrees on this Monday morning, 8:02 on AM 560. The Answer. I'm Mike Scott. Here in Chicago, NBA teams are expected to honor the late Lakers player Kobe Bryant during tonight's game. Bulls former great Scottie Pippen on ABC's Good Morning America moments ago saying Bryant embodied the next generation in the NBA.
Had an opportunity to watch a young man's career for 20 years, to watch him blossom season after season, to rise to the top, to be able to take the torch and really carry our league.
The Bulls tonight, along with other teams in the NBA, will take 8-second and 24-second violations, as most teams did Sunday, to honor Bryant's uniform numbers. Chicago police this morning are searching for 3 suspects who swiped an ATM from a business in the West Loop. An employee telling officers that the trio entered the vestibule of the business in the 1000 block of West Jackson early this morning. 2 people are in custody after a police officer was struck by a vehicle fleeing a traffic stop on Chicago's south side. Officers were trying to curb that vehicle last night near 100th and Peoria when the driver took off and hit other cars. A male and female who ran were arrested after a short foot chase. Suburban Chicago man has been found guilty in the death of a woman during a 2017 burglary of her Hinsdale home. DuPage County jury found 32-year-old Dominic Sanders of University Park guilty of first-degree murder in the death of Andrea Urban. Bulls host the Spurs later on tonight. And at 8:03, it's time for the AM 560 Business Beat. And now the latest from the Fox Business Network.
I'm Deirdre Bolton, and this is the Fox Business Report.
Dow futures have been down more than 400 points this morning, with concerns that the coronavirus and the closings of businesses in China will impact the global economy. Craig Dismuke, chief economist at Vining Sparks, tells FBN the market is repeating the same pattern we saw during the SARS virus.
As that played out, you saw stocks fall. The Dow, or the S&P, was down almost 10% year to date at the middle of that. Bond yields fell, then they shot back higher, then they fell back again. And so certainly it can create a lot of volatility for the markets.
Walmart is offering workers $12 an hour in some stores to attract new workers. It's only offering the higher wage in 500 of its approximately 4,700 stores in the U.S. It has been paying $11 an hour since early 2018. That's your Fox Business Report. I'm Ginny Coselda, invested in you.
Business, a service of Signature Bank, helping local businesses succeed. Visit signaturebank.bank for your commercial banking needs. A check of traffic and weather is on the way next on AM 560.
Sean Hannity doesn't see much difference in the Democratic frontrunners.
You got Bernie Sanders now. Volunteers are being told to zero in on the weaknesses of fellow socialist Elizabeth Warren. My personal opinion is there's not really a dime's worth of difference between the two of them. They're both radical, extreme, left-wing socialists that want Medicare for all and would want the Green New Deal.
The Sean Hannity Show, afternoons at 2, right before Steve Cortez at 5 on AM 560. The Answer.
Balance of Nature, changing the world one life at a time.
I ended up getting a cold after Thanksgiving, and usually it always goes to my chest. Not even a usually, it just always goes to my chest, and I end up having to go to the doctor. This time I took 9 of the Balance of Nature for 2 days, and it totally cleared up. I was very impressed because every time I've gotten a cold for the past 5 years, it goes into my chest, and it didn't. It cleared up right away.
Don't wait to see what getting over 10 servings of whole fruits and vegetables every day can do for you. Right now, Balance of Nature is offering free shipping and 35% off on any new preferred order of fruits and veggies. Start your journey to better health today by calling 1-800-2468-751 or by going to balanceofnature.com and make sure to receive this special radio offer by using discount code CHICAGO.
I'm Nick Soboleski, a Select Quote agent with a true story that could save you hundreds of dollars a year. A woman named Linda just called. Her husband, Ray, has a $300,000 group life insurance policy, but is changing jobs and can't take it with him. Well, I shopped the many highly rated term life insurance companies we represent and found Ray, who is 41 and takes medication to control his cholesterol, a 10-year, $500,000 policy for under $27 a month. That's almost twice the coverage for less than half of what he had paid. If SelectQuote hasn't shopped for your life insurance, you're probably paying too much.
For your free quote, call 800-597-0315. That's 800-597-0315. 800-597-0315. Or go to SelectQuote.com. Since 1985, we shop, you save.
Get full details on the example policy at selectquote.com/commercials. Or price could vary depending on your health, issuing company, and other factors. Not available in all states.
It's 8:07, Team Hochberg Traffic Center time. Jim Talamonte.
Inbound Eden's delay started Pratt. It's 19 minutes like Hook to Montrose. Outbound 24. Inbound Kennedy, heavy starting at Cumberland. 45 minutes. O'Hare to downtown. Heavier in the express lanes to the locals. Outbound 39 minutes to the airport. Inbound Eisenhower, it's now 52 minutes. 390 to downtown. 38 from Wolf Road. Outbound 35 minutes to 390. Stevenson, an hour and 2 minutes. 355 to Lakeshore Drive. Outbound 34 minutes. Bryant is 40 minutes, 95th to downtown. I-57, 20 minutes, 90 to the Verge. Bishopwood, 30. Seeing delays on the northbound side of the Veterans Memorial Tollway from the Mountain Toll to Maple. Eastbound Reagan Tollway traffic slow 53 to Highland. Adams Tollway tight 59 Higgins. That's traffic. I'm Jim Talamonte on AM 560 The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. In our 1-hour heating and air conditioning weather center, we see clouds today, a high of 36. And a cloudy night overnight, low 29. It's 29 right now. Next news at 8:30 and Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by CharlesEquipment.com, keeping you powered up no matter what the conditions.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. If you lost the New York Times' David Brooks on removing the president from office, you're in a pretty bad position if you're House managers. Here's what David Brooks had to say on PBS over the weekend.
I was a little less impressed. I mean, the two main arguments were, that's when he directly addressed why this is worth removing. And it was, well, Trump believed Giuliani and not his own intelligence agencies. And he did it out of self-interest. That strikes me as true, not a big crime. And then he said you can't trust Trump in the 2020 election when China may interfere. But you can't impeach for something that hasn't already happened. Yeah. And so I think the removal part is still a slightly weak case.
Yeah, slightly weak. David Brooks is saying it's slightly weak. It's catastrophically weak is how that should translate into common sense speak. Lindsey Graham was on with Maria Bartiromo, and he went into more detail on the infirmities of the House manager's case, both on process and substance. First, process.
Witnesses present evidence. So the Nixon impeachment lasted for years. He went to the Supreme Court. The Clinton investigation lasted for 4.5 years. So the defense was able to tell the Senate that all the due process given Nixon and Clinton did not exist with Trump. And they made the most stunning of all arguments. They impeached the President of the United States in 78 days. Why? Because they wanted to get it over by Christmas. Why didn't they pursue witnesses in the House? That would require court action that would delay their goal of impeaching him before the election. I think that's devastating to the House managers. If you contested a parking ticket, it'd probably take more than 78 days.
And then Graham on the substance?
So on substance, they told us that the president was unconcerned about burden sharing, that he was not concerned about corruption, that the only reason he wanted the Ukrainians to look at the Bidens and look into 2016 election interference was for personal gain. They read the transcript for 21 hours selectively. In the transcript that the House managers never read to the Senate was an exchange between President Trump and the Ukrainian President Zelensky, where President Trump was complaining about the Europeans not doing enough, and the president of the Ukraine agreed. The president in the transcript from the Ukraine said to the President Trump, you know, you're doing more than the Europeans. It shouldn't be that way. I'm paraphrasing. So the transcript was devastating to their case. Then the witnesses that they called in their case, they took snippets of hour-long testimony. And one thing for a young lawyer, if you want to use a piece of evidence from a deposition or a tape, make sure that other parts of the tape do not destroy the parts that you used.
Yeah.
They were able to prove that the witnesses that were called on behalf of the government, when you look at other things they said, completely destroyed their case. That the president had been concerned about corruption in the Ukraine. He raised it with the past president of the Ukraine, raised it with this president, and when it comes to the meeting, The manager said that the president was telling the Ukrainian president, "You'll never meet with me in the White House or any place else unless you give in to my demands." In the transcript, the president of the Ukraine suggested that the President Trump meet him in Poland September the 1st. The president agreed to that meeting, and the only reason he didn't go was because of hurricanes, and he sent the vice president in his place.
Yeah.
Within 2 hours, they devastated the process and substance argument.
In addition to that, you also had Deputy Counsel for the President, Patrick Philbin, talk about Schiff's change of heart on the whistleblower. And he made the point that one of the transcripts from the House investigation has still not been made available to the White House defense team, and that's the Inspector General's, the Inspector General for the Intelligence Community's transcript, his testimony before the House, where he spoke behind closed doors about the bias he thought may be present with the whistleblower.
Oh.
Why has that transcript not been made available? Why no interest in having the whistleblower testify anymore when Adam Schiff said that it was important that the whistleblower testify even after the transcript of the Trump-Zelensky phone call was released? So Schiff's claim now is we don't need the whistleblower to testify because we have the phone call. But he was still calling for the whistleblower to testify after the transcript was released. He stopped calling for the whistleblower to testify when there were reports that the whistleblower
Worked
had
for Biden, right?
Well, worked for Biden, but also had consorted with Schiff's staff.
Yeah. I mean, Schiff has lost his right to be taken seriously because of his work with the whistleblower, and also when he did that mock conversation that he had with himself, but people took that as word that originally happened.
For more on this whole topic and all the rich vicissitudes, we're pleased to be joined by William Jacobson. He's a clinical professor of law and director of the Securities Law Clinic at Cornell Law School. He's also the founder of the very good legal blog for you legal eagles like me, legalinsurrection.com. He's president of the Legal Insurrection Foundation. Professor Jacobson, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Thanks for having me on.
So, how do you, what are some of your top lines after, a week of this leading with the first offerings from the defense team on Saturday?
I was able to watch the entirety of the 2-hour presentation by the Republicans on Saturday, and as some of the clips you played indicate, it was fairly devastating to the substance of the Democratic case. I think it's not looking good, and I think that's one of the reasons why we have now the big bombshell like we did in Kavanaugh near the end when it looks like it's over for the Democrats. All of a sudden there's some accusation made, and that's the New York Times report last night or yesterday on the upcoming Bolton book, which, having read that lengthy New York Times report, there's actually almost no substance in it. There's no quotes from the book. There's no specific accusations. It's a conclusion. And this is exactly what happened in Kavanaugh. When the hearings were over, when it looked like he was clearly going to be confirmed, all of a sudden the new accusations come out. And I think that's why the Republican senators would be right to be very skeptical about what's going on here and the demand for witnesses, because John Bolton is somebody the House could have tried to subpoena. They never actually even subpoenaed him in the House. And the courts could have, on an expeditious basis, ruled on whether the subpoena was valid. I mean, there are all these things. And so now they're trying to turn the Senate into an investigatory body, and that's not what the Senate role here is. So I think the Democrats are in a lot of trouble. Their only hope is they can stretch this thing out, get more media bombshells that stretch it out, and I think that's what they're about. I think they know there's no way, based on what we know so far, that Trump is going to be removed.
Well, I mean, Democrats seem so desperate. They leaked that Lev Parnas, recording over the weekend, and they're trying, to me, try this in the court of public opinion.
That's right. And the left Parnas tape is really a whole lot of nothing. Trump has publicly said he didn't like that ambassador. It's his right to remove an ambassador and to appoint ambassadors. So left Parnas comes out with a tape where Trump says he doesn't like the ambassador. There's literally zero news in that tape, but it's dominated the media news cycle for 48 hours or 72 hours now. This is a replay not just of Kavanaugh, but of the Russia Mueller investigation. Almost every 3 to 4 days, there would be some new bombshell, which amounted to nothing, often was disproven within 2 or 3 days, and it was a permanent crisis news cycle. There was always something being rolled out by the media. The New York Times played a huge role in doing that based upon what anonymous people told them somebody else said, so they never had direct quotes. CNN did it a lot. MSNBC much less. They were more opinion-oriented, but there was this permanent crisis news cycle, and that's what we're seeing with the impeachment. But when you get down to it, the Republican 2-hour presentation was fairly devastating to the Democrats, and it wasn't just devastating on the substance. It was devastating as to the intent of the Democrats, because the Democrats want Republican senators to take on good faith that if we just call more witnesses, all we're really interested in is getting to the truth. But the Republicans showed that in the 24 hours of presentation to the Senate, the Democrats did not act in good faith because they withheld critical parts of testimony from the witnesses they quoted. So I think they're in a world of hurt. Really, the only question is sometime later this week, are 4 Republican senators going to vote to call witnesses and turn this thing into a complete circus in the Senate? As it looks at the moment in time, it does not look like they're going to get 4. They might get 1 or 2.
Yeah, and not just cherry-picking witness testimony like Gordon Sondland's, cherry-picking holds on foreign aid, as Jay Sekulow pointed out. There were many examples in President Trump's administration of other legitimate holds on foreign aid, Afghan aid because of concerns with corruption, and other examples, Northern Triangle because those countries weren't doing enough to stem the flow of illegal immigration and other such examples. But they also are cherry-picking the law. They use U.S. v. Nixon as the basis for impeaching President Trump, but they cherry-pick the holding in U.S. v. Nixon. They sort of gloss over the fact that the Supreme Court in that case also said, in rejecting Nixon's sweeping claims of privilege, that a narrow claim of presidential privilege may well be justified. And the Wall Street Journal pointed this out, saying that from the opinion, a president and those who assist him must be free to explore alternatives in the process of shaping policies and making decisions, and to do so in a way that many would be unwilling to express except privately. These are considerations justifying a presumptive privilege for presidential communications. That portion of the Supreme Court opinion in U.S. v. Nixon, the Democrats didn't tackle.
That's right, and that's a lot of what goes on here is that they bring in, inapplicable precedent, or they misstate what it is that, president probably would win in court on John Bolton's testimony being subject to executive privilege. I mean, he was about as close to the president as you can get. And if a president is going to be able to confide in his senior-most advisors, he's got to he or she or whoever it happens to be in the future has to have an understanding that that is private. Otherwise, you will never speak to your closest advisors. So I think Trump would probably win. I don't think Trump would win in the sense of that Bolton doesn't have to show up to testify, but I think he would win that the president, once Bolton shows up, could assert executive privilege to prevent, testimony as to private conversations with the president. So I think that's why the Democrats didn't go to court. They could have gotten from a district court a fairly quick ruling. I think they probably could have gotten a ruling within 2 or 3 weeks, and then an appeals court ruling within a week or so after that. So within a couple of months, they could have had all the rulings that they needed, and the Supreme Court would have ruled on a temporary basis as to what would happen. So this notion that it would be years and years and years before they'd get a ruling on this witnesses, I think is false. They didn't even try, and they didn't try because I think ultimately they knew that the key people they claimed to have wanted, Mulvaney, Bolton, and a couple of others, are so close and so senior in the administration that they never would have been allowed to testify anyway.
The other thing, just going back to the Lev Parnas bombshell audio video that surfaced over the weekend. So that was from a dinner in April of 2018, and he was saying, "Get rid of Marie Yovanovitch, the ambassador. I'll get rid of her tomorrow." Well, wait a second. That's a year before Joe Biden announced he was running for president. So I guess President Trump's perspective with respect to Ukrainian policy wasn't all tied up in, quote unquote, getting dirt on a political opponent.
No, Trump doesn't like people who are disloyal to him and who don't like him. And the reports he was getting, whether they're true or not, is that this ambassador was disloyal to him, was an Obama holdover, was undermining his policies. And he had every right as president to say, I want an ambassador who actually supports my policies. And I think he was entitled to that. And the fact that, as you indicate, a year earlier he expressed that view actually hurts the Democrats, because it shows it wasn't tied into Biden running for president, because he wasn't even running at that point, and it wasn't even clear he would run.
Well, what about, real quickly, the accusation that President Trump doesn't know Lev Parnas? Because, in picture after picture, I know Trump called him a groupie, but do you buy that he didn't know him?
I guess it depends on the definition. I mean, politicians go to events. There are people there they don't necessarily know but are there, and there might be people who are there repeatedly. Is there some evidence that he knew him more than as somebody who showed up at his events? I think that's the question. And I don't know the answer to that. I haven't seen that evidence yet, because that's, the problem we live in with this Twitter culture is that somebody always digs up an old photograph. And a politician in the course of a year, somebody like Trump, could probably meet thousands of people and gets this photograph taken with them. I mean, look at Elizabeth Warren. Her whole big thing is that she has taken whatever it was, 1,000 selfies or 1,000,000 selfies, whatever the number is. The fact that she had a selfie taken with somebody doesn't mean she knows them. Maybe that person showed up at multiple events. So I've not seen the evidence yet that Trump knew Parnas in the way that we would associate with that word, that they had some sort of personal or business relationship beyond Parnas being part of a group of people who from time to time would show up at events with Trump.
Well, but also, how is it relevant to what we're talking about, removing a president from office? He said he didn't know Lev Parnas, so now we're going to go down this rabbit hole of did he know or didn't he know Lev Parnas? This is what the D.C. press corps wants you to do. Who cares if he knew him or not? What does that have to do with removing a president from office?
Exactly. What's the evidence that Lev Parnas has? It's almost non-existent. And who is Lev Parnas? I mean, this is a guy who's under indictment for making false statements to the government. I mean, this is the quality of witness that they're bringing forward. So I think the whole thing, it's just Kavanaugh all over again. You remember that there was the report of Kavanaugh by an anonymous person through Sheldon Whitehouse's office, Senator Sheldon Whitehouse's office, referred to the government about a sexual assault on a boat in Rhode Island. Turned out to be a complete fabrication. Right. But it was one of several things that came out at critical moments that led to a 48-hour or 72-hour media news frenzy to try to slow down the Kavanaugh confirmation. And I think that's what we're getting. I would expect that tomorrow there'll be some new nonsensical bombshell. I mean, really, people need to read that New York Times article. There isn't a single quote in there from the book. It's what certain people who say they've seen the book, how they characterize it, and then the New York Times characterizes it. It's not even third-hand hearsay because nobody told the New York Times a quote from the book. So and this is now dominating it. This comes out at a critical juncture, just like it did for Kavanaugh. This is the Democrat playbook on how to oppose Trump. Use the media to your advantage to roll things out and disrupt what's going on.
It's just too bad that Michael Avenatti's in federal custody. Otherwise, he could insinuate himself back into this process, and that would be fun.
He'll be in court today.
I'd certainly like to hear from him. William Jacobson, clinical professor of law and director of the Securities Law Clinic at Cornell Law School, founder of LegalInsurrection.com, which is must-reading, and president of Legal Insurrection Foundation. Professor Jacobson, thanks so much for joining us. Appreciate it.
Great. Thanks for having me.
And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
Before you see it on TV, share it on Facebook, or read about it in the paper, hear it here first. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Ross Shaw of SC Wealth Advisors.
I've never heard or met anyone that likes to lose money. However, they do. And it happens time and time again because they didn't address their portfolio and they didn't take action when the time was right, which is now.
Ross Shaw and his team are growing, and the radio show is evolving too. Same interesting insight and advice on your financial health with a new name. Tune in to Unlock Your Wealth, Sunday mornings at 7 here on AM 560, The Answer.
I'm doing it right now. I'm taking Balance of Nature. What I like to do, something I learned from Dr. Howard, who created Balance of Nature, is take 3 fruit capsules in warm water, mix it up, and it soothes your throat. It makes you feel better, and it's so important, especially right now, to boost your immune system. And the best way to do that is by eating fruits and veggies, eating well. But admit it, we're not doing that on our own, and that's where Balance of Nature comes in. During this cold and flu season, you don't want to take any chances, and you want to boost your immune system. So start doing what I recently started doing again, and that's take Balance of Nature, 6 capsules of Balance of Nature. You're getting 10 servings of 31 fruits and veggies. There's no preservatives, no dyes in these, and the Balance of Nature. It's made here in America. And you hear stories right here about how people's lives have changed, and you need to protect yourself and boost your immune system. So get on it. And right now, free shipping and still 35% off your first preferred order of Balance of Nature. Go to balanceofnature.com, type Chicago in that discount code. Again, balanceofnature.com, discount code Chicago, or call 800-246-8751. That's 800-246-8751. Do it today.
When you're serious about your concealed carry training and education and are ready to learn from an active police officer with a teaching degree, check out Illinois Concealed Carry Training in Midlothian. You'll learn safe, responsible firearm use, home defense planning, conflict avoidance, situational awareness, and how to remain physically, morally, and financially safe in the event you must use your firearm in self-defense or the defense of another. Weekday and weekend classes available. For information, visit Illinois Concealed Carry Training online at icct.us. That's icct.us.
When it's cold outside, you can dress for it. But when your furnace gives out, hey, a blanket fort can only do so much. So call your local 1-Hour Heating and Air Conditioning. We'll replace your old furnace with a new high-efficiency one. And that beats a bunch of blankets any day. Right now, cozy up to big savings on a complete heating system. Call 855-1-HOUR.
Your comfort is just a call away. Call 1-Hour.
Terms and conditions may apply. Call for details. Independently owned and operated. Licensed in the respective state or county.
If you haven't switched to Pure Talk USA, you're probably paying too much for your cell service. Pure Talk covers 99% of the country, and plans start at just $20 per line with no contract and a 1-month risk-free guarantee. You've got nothing to lose. You can even keep your phone and your number. Get 50% off your first month when you call now. Just go to puretalkusa.com and enter promo code HALF-OFF. That's puretalkusa.com, promo code HALF-OFF.
Message and data rates may apply. Individual results vary. Exclusions apply.
Contacts and glasses are such a hassle. I'd love to finally get LASIK, but
I'm going to stop you right there. If you want LASIK, then the LASIK Vision Institute has officially taken away everything standing in your way.
Isn't LASIK expensive?
Not at the LASIK Vision Institute. We're offering dramatically low prices, as low as $220 per eye, and an absolutely free consultation. See for free if LASIK is right for you by texting LIKE to 350350.
But I'm really busy.
A text only takes seconds. The LASIK procedure typically only takes 15 minutes, and most patients can get back to work the following day. The LASIK Vision Institute uses the latest FDA-approved LASIK technology that helps the majority of patients achieve 20/20 vision for as little as $220 per eye. Dr. Greenberg has performed 75,000 laser eye surgeries and is one of the most experienced LASIK surgeons in Chicago.
What's that text again?
Text LIKE to 350350. That's LIKE to 350350 to schedule your free consultation today.
AM 560, The Answer.
Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
We'll update the crash that took the life of Kobe Bryant and his daughter yesterday. Other victims in the crash have been named that were not known to us early this morning. Also review some of the tributes and take your calls as well. 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line.
And now let's head straight into that newsroom. Here is Mike Scott.
Amy and Dan, good morning. Good morning, everyone. Boaters leapt into the water this morning to escape an all-consuming fire that has destroyed 35 houseboats docked along the Tennessee River this morning. There were fatalities, as many as 7. 7 others are reported missing, others sent to hospitals. The Associated Press says local officials are trying hard to get divers to get into the water to search for possible victims along the Tennessee River near the town of Scottsboro. Doctors are warning that tens of thousands of people are infected with the Wuhan coronavirus. It's already claimed about 50 lives. All passengers on board an airplane flying over central Afghanistan are likely dead. The plane crashing in territory currently under control of the Taliban, so details may be murky for a while. President Trump will unveil his long-awaited Mideast peace plan to Israeli officials today. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu is headed to Washington for an historic meeting that may lay out some details of that plan and pump life back into Netanyahu's political life in Israel. The helicopter carrying Kobe Bryant and 8 others that crashed outside L.A. was flying in foggy conditions, considered dangerous enough that local police agencies grounded their choppers. Bryant's helicopter plunged into a rugged hillside Sunday with an impact that scattered debris over an area the size of a football field. The Bulls are expected to honor the late Lakers player Kobe Bryant during tonight's game. Chicago Bull great Scottie Pippen was on ABC's Good Morning America.
I had an opportunity to watch a young man's career for 20 years, to watch him blossom season after season, to rise to the top, to be able to take the torch and really carry our league.
Teams like the Bulls tonight will take 8-second and 24-second violations to honor Bryant's uniform numbers, as most teams did on Sunday night. Chicago sports, Bulls again will host the Spurs tonight. While in college hoops last night, Northwestern was knocked off by Ohio State, and Loyola fell to Northern Iowa 67-62 in overtime. The news, a service of Upwork. Upwork has the largest network of independent professionals like developers, designers, data scientists, you name it, and they're proven, rated, and reviewed, so when you need in-demand talent on demand, Upwork is how. A check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Mike Gallagher knows why the impeachment circus started.
The reason behind the whole impeachment hoax, it was just to say he's been impeached for life. Wow.
It's like all they've got.
Well, we're not going to probably get him removed from office. He very well may win this year. Well, but at least we can say he was impeached. Aha! We got that on him.
The Mike Gallagher Show. Weekdays at 9, right before Dennis Prager at 11 on AM 560. The Answer.
Signature Bank is Chicago's fastest-growing independently owned business bank. It's a bank where relationships still matter. Signature Bank knows your name and your story. I'm Dan Proft, and I know this because Signature Bank is my business bank.
I'm Amanda Zanger, owner of Black Industrial and Safety Supply in Hammond, Indiana, and a business customer of Signature Bank. Prior to owning my own business, I worked for a major financial institution. So when it came time to finance the acquisition of Black, I approached a big bank, only to receive a solid no. That's when Signature Bank stepped in. With Signature Bank, the process was different. Signature provided creative financing options that enabled me to purchase Black and continue to grow the business. Thanks to Signature Bank, Black Industrial is able to continue serving Fortune 500 industry fabricators and contractors with tools and safety supplies as we have since 1893.
Signature Bank is looking for their next success story. To learn more about turning your business vision into reality, visit signaturebank.bank. Signature Bank, helping local businesses succeed. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Impact Mortgage Corp. DBA Cash Call Mortgage. NMLS ID 128231. Equal Housing Lender. Not licensed in all states including New York. Offer not available in Washington. Call 855-657-9910 for licensing terms and restrictions.
You see it on TV every day. Global turmoil. But these international events help keep interest rates low and may even drive them lower. In response, we at Cash Call Mortgage have lowered our interest rates for the new year. And that's great news for homeowners. If you have a current rate above 2.99%, call us to see how much you can save. If you qualify, we'll even pay your closing costs. And we can close your refi in as fast as 20 days with no upfront deposit. With our low interest rates and no closing costs if you qualify, there's never been a better time to lock in a low rate before it's gone. For a free quote, go to cashcallmortgage.com or call 800-990-6947. That's 800-990-6947. 800-990-6947.
8:36 On AM 560 in the Team Hochberg Traffic Center, here's Jim Telemonte.
In northwest Indiana, I-65 is closed southbound from 15th Avenue to 8094. We're seeing slow traffic on the inbound Kennedy Expressway starting at Nagel. It is 48 minutes, O'Hare to downtown, 30 from Montrose, 28 to the Express. Outbound 34 minutes to the airport. Eden's 18 minutes, like Hook to the junction, outbound 24. Inbound Eisenhower delays start at North Avenue. It is 52 minutes, 390 to downtown, 38 from Wolf, outbound 35 minutes to 390. Stevenson, 58 minutes, 355 to the drive. The ride, 40 minutes from 95th. Northbound Tri-State traffic slow from the Reagan Toll to North Avenue and from the O'Hare Oasis to Lawrence. Northbound Veterans Memorial from Mountain Toll to Maple. I'm Jim Telemonte on AM 560 The Answer.
We're keeping our eyes on Wall Street this morning. Dow down 433 in very early trading. Reaction. We'll see where it ends up later on today. Meantime, Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast. From the 1 hour heating and air conditioning weather center, cloudy and 36 today, 29 overnight and a flurry tomorrow, a high of 35. Your next news update is at 9. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Papa Nicholas Coffee. Papa Nicholas, best beans, best roast, best coffee.
Only the biggest stories, only the biggest guests, and only the biggest opinions. This is AM 560, The Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. I want to get to Kobe Bryant here, but just closing out the discussion we were having on impeachment, where we're scheduled for day 2 of the White House Defense Counsel's presentation. Cole and Crystal Lake, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Yeah, hi. Thanks for taking my call. I'm listening to the last couple of sections you had with the professor and then Lindsey Graham, and it's like deja vu all over again. I had an opportunity to watch about a half hour or so or more of CNN on Saturday night, and I with a CNN viewer, and I said, I'll just show you how dishonest these folks are. And so, one, they had no clips at all of any of the defense presentation. So everything they said was their characterization, like you were talking about the New York Times. So, for example, Anderson Cooper would say to another person, Trump supporters say, when it was something that the witness said, like Sondland saying the president told him no quid pro quo. So if you're watching, you don't hear the fact that the witness contradicted what the House manager was saying. They couched it in terms of Trump supporters.
Right.
Second, if you listen to, and at one point, David Gergen, he said basically the senators, if they don't vote for new witnesses, would be like derelict. I mean, it was kind of a really strong statement about they'd be derelict, they wouldn't be fulfilling their duties. And what I said was no. Actually, what he's saying is the House didn't fulfill their duties because he's condemning them. They're the ones who voted for impeachment without hearing this evidence that they want the Senate. And what's really the practical side of that is kind of what you just said. It's a moving target about, Lev Parnas, whether he told the truth. So it's a moving target. Now they're going to have to vote on impeachment on something that the House never heard. Let's say, for example, Bolton says, oh, yeah, he told me, President Trump said, he wants all these quid pro quos. And I told him, no, you can't do that. And he agreed with me. So let's say it's something that devastating to the Democrats. The House would have never heard that. So who knows if the House would have said, you know what, we're not going to vote for impeachment.
Yeah, okay.
So that's why you can't do that. It's you know what I'm saying?
Well,
it doesn't require lofty constitutional principles. It's a matter of practical.
Well, that's right. Thanks for the call.
And the 2 articles of impeachment are not quid pro quo. It's obstruction of Congress and abuse of power.
The other thing, that's just on CNN, and Megyn Kelly gave an interview the other day, and she basically said, I thought she summed it up nicely, CNN has become exactly what President Trump said it is. It may not have been completely what he said it was when he was first elected, but they have lived down to his characterization of them. They really have, including Jake Tapper. Jake Tapper was on, or Langford, Jim Langford, the Republican senator from Oklahoma, was on with Jake Tapper. And, I mean, the line of questioning is so absurd.
What do you say to somebody who says, President Trump is saying that Adam Schiff needs to pay a price. This is in the midst of Adam Schiff getting death threats. You're not offended by that. You think it's just
I just don't think it's a death threat. I don't think he's encouraging a death threat.
But people who are supporters of the president have heard his rhetoric and then actually tried to bomb and kill politicians and the media. I mean, that's happened.
Right. We've also had individuals go up to a baseball game.
Yeah, horrible.
And shoot Republicans.
Awful.
Walk up and say,
Completely,
is this where the Republicans are? I'm going to go fire at them.
Yeah.
And so to be able to say the president's trying to be able to spur this on, and be able to say Democrats are trying to spur on the killing.
I guess I don't understand why you're offended at what Adam Schiff said.
No, because I think it's political. I think what he's saying is political. What the president's saying is he's going to be held to a price. And I'm offended only because Adam Schiff believes that the only reason that we act the way that we do is because the president's going to put our head on a pike.
Yeah, so the head on the pike versus the president saying Schiff hasn't paid a price that he needs to pay for his pathological dishonesty. I mean, look, the idea that Jake Tapper, and he's the only person on CNN that comes sometimes close to being an adult and trying to ask important questions to drive important conversations. Sometimes. It's now becoming occasionally. The idea that you can't say a pointed word in politics without being concerned that it may be construed by somebody looking for a predicate to commit violence, that's what they take. It is so ridiculous, and Jake Tapper should be embarrassed for making that line of inquiry. Let me just start. Bernie Sanders isn't responsible for the lunatic who shot up the Republican softball practice, okay? And President Trump saying Adam Schiff deserves to pay a price for this charade that he has put the country through, or he's largely directed the country through with a lot of help over the last 6 months, over the last 3 years. Of course, you have a political price. So paid a price. That sounds like he's advocating violence.
But also,
how silly is this?
And President Trump's responding to Schiff and what he said on Friday.
The Trump confidant said that GOP senators were warned, vote against your president, vote against the president, and your head will be on a pike. Now, I don't know if that's true.
Yeah, I don't know if it's true, but I'm going to...
But I'm going to say it anyway.
I'm going to say it anyway. The interesting thing is, and both Braun and Langford spoke to this over the weekend, Mike Braun from Indiana, as well as Langford you just heard from, that, that didn't sit well with, those swing Republican senators you want to vote for witnesses like Murkowski and Collins. Actually, Collins exclaimed, not true, which is a remarkable thing to come from Susan Collins. So I think that House Democrats, House managers are clear that this thing is going to be over probably before the week is out. And so this is just Adam Schiff indulging his star turn. This is not trying to persuade anybody because you couldn't pick a worse person to try to persuade swing Republicans than Adam Schiff, particularly with the choices he's made rhetorically. Bob and Waukegan.
Yeah, first of all, I love your show, and I know you're, pressed for time, so I'm just going to say what I got to say. I call this the marshmallow impeachment. Remember when kids are little and they put them in a room and they put one marshmallow in front of them, and they tell them if they can delay their gratification for 15 minutes, they can have 2 marshmallows? Well, the Democrats show how immature and emotion-driven they are in their impeachment of President Trump. They chose not to delay eating the shiny little marshmallow, the impeachment by Christmas. They chose not to do their jobs by not taking a full House vote on impeachment. Therefore, they had no authority to subpoena any witnesses. They failed to do their job, and they whine every day to the public through their biased, lying media to pressure spineless Republicans to give them the second marshmallow, damn it. The House Democrats are like temperamental children in a store who threaten their parents to the Senate in this case, that they will take their clothes off and dye their hair any color but orange. Their naked hate and rage shows every day. Adam, full of Schiff's statement that Democrats cannot trust the American voter to make the right choice is Orwellian. It should scare the hell out of every American. I say let them dye their hair and go naked, but do not give them their second marshmallow. No witnesses to vote. No witnesses. Vote to dismiss them and their bogus impeachment.
All right. Thanks for the call, Bob. It's quite a
well.
metaphor.
Yes.
Paul and Aurora. Hey, Paul.
Paul.
Hey, so I have 2 bigger
issue questions. Number one, freedom of the press. The freedom of the press, in the Constitution, back in the day, absolutely needed to be to keep people, to keep an eye on our politicians, right? But back when I learned about freedom of the press was supposed to ask who, what, when, where, why, how, and report the facts. What do we do now in 2020 when the press is not an agent of the people? The press has been weaponized by one political party, and that's not what the founders intended. That's number one. Number two, can we impeach Schiff and Nadler? What is the fine line between them lying and perjury?
Yeah, well,
because I would suggest that Schiff and Nadler are committing treason by trying to remove a president who's done nothing. I'll hang up and listen. Give me your responses to both, please.
Thanks for the call, Paul. One, I mean, can members of Congress be impeached? Yes, they can be impeached. Is that going to happen to Schiff or Nadler? No, and probably wouldn't even if Republicans took control. But certainly there's not going to be that reckoning, paying a price, until and unless the House Democrats are returned to the minority where they belong. So think about that in the suburbs when you consider Sean Casten and Lauren Underwood's reelection bids, for example, in Illinois. With respect to freedom of the press, the good news in the digital age is that there are some outlets that are doing what the press was intended to do. My favorite aphorism about the press is from Finley Peter Dunn: to afflict the comfortable and comfort the afflicted. Yes, who, what, where, when, why, and how, and report the facts. More outlets in the digital age and less influence from those old media outlets that have become nothing more than house organs for the left. So I don't think we need to do anything with freedom of the press or anything with the First Amendment as it's currently constructed. We just need more. We got a lot of good ones and a lot of outlets that are transparently lean conservative, where those that are losing their legitimacy pretend to be objective, and yet we know the New York Times, the Washington Post, the Chicago Tribune, the Chicago Sun-Times, they're as objective as CNN and MSNBC for the most part. Mike and Niles.
Hi, I'm wondering whether senators can move to separate the votes for a conviction or acquittal and removal from office.
No. I mean, the vote to convict is a vote to remove. Yeah, thanks for the call, Mike. Bill in the Northwest Side.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. My comment regards Nancy Pelosi's recurring statement that President Trump will be remembered forever as having been an impeached president. But I maintain that Nancy Pelosi will forever be remembered, and her legacy will be as a petty House Speaker who engineered an impeachment farce and let a whack job bartender from New York hijack the entire Democratic Party. Thank you.
Thanks, Bill.
It's like a hot, steaming cup of information to start your day. It's Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Good morning, America.
Or is it? If you're one of the millions of Americans who did not sleep well last night, it's probably a pretty average morning.
But listen up, you sleep-deprived people. There's good news. A breakthrough sleep solution called Pronto Sleep.
And when we say pronto, we mean pronto. Pronto Sleep gently opens your nose to focus breathing and help you relax and fall asleep. And the built-in scent diffuser delivers a blend of 4 pure essential oils to help you stay asleep naturally.
And then Pronto replenishes the oils ready for the next night. Too easy, eh?
And in trials, 84% of people with trouble sleeping found Pronto helped them fall asleep, and 74% found it helped them stay asleep. So make every morning a
Good Morning America.
With Pronto Sleep, available now at select Walgreens, Amazon, or at prontosleep.com.
Pronto Sleep from Rhinomed, bringing you advanced nasal therapies.
Signature Bank is Chicago's fastest growing independently owned business bank. It's a bank where relationships still matter. Signature Bank knows your name and your story. I'm Dan Proft, and I know this because Signature Bank is my business bank.
I'm Tom Goleb, Chief Financial Officer of Navitas Systems, a leader in the next generation of advanced battery technology and a customer of Signature Bank. A few years ago, I heard Signature Bank on an AM 560 radio ad just as our previous commercial bank was being acquired. I knew Mick O'Rourke and Kevin Bastuga from a prior enterprise. I valued my relationship with them, and the way they worked earned my trust and my business. So I decided to give Signature Bank a call. They took the time to understand our early stage technology company that has its own set of challenges. Signature Bank took care of us, and now we are satisfied customers.
Signature Bank is looking for their next success story. To learn more about turning your business vision into reality, visit signaturebank.bank. Signature Bank, helping local businesses succeed. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Elevators and escalators are used thousands of times a day in millions of buildings around the world, and we rarely think about them. That is, until something goes wrong. Buildings spend a fortune on maintenance and repairs and yet still seem to experience issue after issue. If you're a property owner or manager, keeping the elevators safe and operational is at the forefront. But how much do you actually know about one of the biggest assets in your building? Elevators and escalators are highly specialized equipment, so the answer is probably not enough, but that's okay, because the elevator consultants are here to help. The Elevator Consultants levels the playing field for building owners and property managers, ensuring your equipment is running smoothly and affordably, especially if using the Elevator app, a game-changing technology that tracks all maintenance activity. Call the Elevator Consultants at 312-519-9949 or visit theelevatorconsultants.com to set up a free consultation. Call the Elevator Consultants, 312-519-9949.
It's a real-world reality. Gunshots. Sometimes the results are tragic. Now, there's gunshot detection technology and active shooter countermeasure technology available right now. And it was developed for the U.S. government.
Hey, this is Mike Walsh. My company is Walsh Wireless. We are the Chicagoland dealer for gunshot detection technology. This gunshot detection system is nothing short of amazing, and it is highly effective. Who uses it? Government, healthcare, education, houses of worship, entertainment, and a lot more. There are no false positives, and that's good. The system can identify the caliber of the gun, so law enforcement can be prepared. This gunshot detection system can also work with your current security system to do a lockdown, instant notification, and more. Identify the gunshot and cut down response time. You need this. Gunshot detection technology from Walsh Wireless. Cost-effective solution to counter a real-world reality.
Financing available. Go to walshwireless.com. A proud IBEW contractor. walshwireless.com.
Message and data rates may apply. Individual results vary. Exclusions apply.
Contacts and glasses are such a hassle. I'd love to finally get LASIK, but
I'm going to stop you right there. If you want LASIK, then the LASIK Vision Institute has officially taken away everything standing in your way.
Isn't LASIK expensive?
Not at the LASIK Vision Institute. We're offering dramatically low prices, as low as $220 per eye, and an absolutely free consultation. See for free if LASIK is right for you by texting LIKE to 350-350.
But I'm really busy.
A text only takes seconds. The LASIK procedure typically only takes 15 minutes, and most patients can get back to work the following day. The LASIK Vision Institute uses the latest FDA-approved LASIK technology that helps the majority of patients achieve 20/20 vision for as little as $220 per eye. Dr. Greenberg has performed 75,000 laser eye surgeries and is one of the most experienced LASIK surgeons in Chicago.
What's that text again?
Text LIKE to 350-350. That's LIKE to 350-350 to schedule your free consultation today.
Raj Shah of SC Wealth Advisors. When you're working, you know where your paycheck's going to be on the 15th and the 30th of the month. But in retirement, you need to do the same thing as you have it structured now to have a solid income coming in the door every single month. Raj Shah and his team are growing, and the radio show is evolving too. Same interesting insight and advice on your financial health with a new name. Tune in to Unlock Your Wealth, Sunday mornings at 7 here on AM 560, The Answer.
2020 is the year your business is going to thrive. Or will it? Resolve to use digital marketing to your advantage. With the help from the pros at Salem Surround, we give you all the right tools to surround your target audience and turn website visitors into website leads. Contact Salem Surround for a free evaluation of your digital presence and learn how to get your advertising message in front of today's consumers. Learn more at surroundchicago.com. That's surroundchicago.com, connecting you with new customers.
AM 560, The Answer.
Dan and Amy, so we wanted to update you, all the victims in the helicopter crash that took the life of Kobe Bryant and his daughter have now been named. We had 6 earlier in the show, but now all 9 have been named.
Yeah, Christina Mauser, she's an assistant girls basketball coach at K-8 private school in Orange County. She was on the plane. And then there's also a mother-daughter duo. Sarah Chester and her daughter Peyton were also passengers aboard the helicopter because they were on their way for a game for their travel team.
That's along with John Altobelli, who is the baseball coach at Orange County College, and his wife and daughter, as well as Era Zobayan, who was the helicopter pilot. And it was said by the LA Times, one flight student named Darren Kemp said he doesn't let anyone else fly him around but Era. So, I mean, this was a pilot that Kobe knew very well and trusted, and it was reported multiple sources that Kobe often used the chopper going back to his days in L.A. to fly to practice, and now was to fly to his sports facility he co-founded for girls basketball and the like.
And he's going to be, I mean, it's I know that we talk about Kobe Bryant's passing and what a loss that is, but somebody tweeted out, the principal of that school said, at Peyton School said, this is going to be just as hurtful, if not more so, for the younger kids who didn't yet fully develop.
One of the tributes, the most important tributes I heard was from Jerry West, who's an iconic figure in the NBA and with the Lakers in his own right, literally the icon of the NBA. His silhouette is the NBA logo. Jerry West and his 20-year relationship with Kobe and his family.
When he was 17 years old, couldn't drive. My son Ryan used to drive him to the practices. He'd never been in the 405 freeway, never had that horrible experience. And then to start thinking about some of the intimate things that I had done with him to help him through the hurdles of a 17-year-old kid trying to become an NBA player and take that enormous amount of talent he had and to put it within a framework that would help the Lakers be successful for so many years. 20 years career, one of the worst days of my life. The only thing I can compare it to is I had a brother killed in Korea, and I'm just devastated by this news.
That's some comparison to compare it to his own brother who was killed in the Korean War. Look, I mean, Kobe Bryant is one of those performers like you think of, I don't know, a Pavarotti performing Turandot or other great artists of a particular era in which you live that you're just honored, lucky to have lived in the era where they perform. When it comes to basketball, you think of, obviously in Chicago, you think of Jordan.
Yeah.
But Kobe, Magic, Bird, Maravich, I mean, for me, those are the 5 in my life. And Kobe is right there. It's just an incredible career and impactful, obviously well beyond the basketball court, and had a lot more impact, a positive impact, I think, that he was going to deliver. So it's a tragedy.
Thanks so much for making us part of your morning. Thanks to Justin Kosick, our technical producer, and Quinn McCarthy. We'll be back here bright and early tomorrow morning. Now here.